Still need one more. Where are you? All right, council members, meeting scheduled for 6:30, 6:42. I think we need to start this meeting. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Patterson Municipal Council, I welcome you to the workshop session of the Municipal Council. The meeting is now called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call for Municipal Council workshop session, June 1st, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Councilman Abdelaziz? Councilwoman Cotton?
Here.
Councilman Davila? Present. Councilman Jackson? Councilman Kalik? Councilman Mendez?
Good evening, President, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mims?
Good evening, Madam Clerk. I'm here.
Councilman Velez? Mr. President?
Present. Madam Clerk, will you please read the statement of compliance?
Yes, Mr. President. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law 2020 to 2021, meeting date June 1, 2021, time 6:30 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was compiled and disseminated in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law in the following manner. 1. The annual notice of regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council was compiled for the year 2020 to 2021, or about July 1, 2020. 2. A schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2020 to 2021 was duly transmitted on or about July 1, 2020 to the North Jersey Herald News, The Record, The Arabic Voice, Italian Voice, Passaic County Pulse, Dominicana News, Escalator International, El Especial, Patterson Press, City Post News, and tap into Patterson in addition to any other publication duly requesting such notices. 3. The schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2020 to 2021 was prominently posted in the lobby of City Hall, first floor, in the place reserved for the announcements of this type. 4, the schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2020 to 2021 was duly filed with the municipal clerk. 5, a copy of the schedule of regular meetings of the Municipal Council was mailed to any person who requested and it paid the fee authorized by the Open Public Records Act. Mr. President?
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Do we have a motion for payment of bills?
Thanks, Council President. We have 2 payment of bills on tonight. I would like to make the motion for the first payment of bills in the amount of $5,843,292.54, with $4,539,671 going and 10 cents going to payroll, and there's no waste management payments.
So, do we have a second on the payment of bills? So moved by Councilwoman Mims, second by Councilwoman Cotton. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call for payment of bills in the amount of $5,843,292.54. Councilwoman Cotton? Yes. Councilwoman Davila?
No.
Councilman Mendez?
No.
Councilman Mims?
Because the bulk and the majority of this bill is to pay our employees, I will definitely support that and vote yes.
Mr. President?
At this time, I've been voting this way for a while. Given that I don't agree with the, overtime practices of the city, I'm going to vote no on this bills list.
Thank you, Mr. President. The vote is 2 in favor, 3 against, 4 absent. Payment of bills in the amount of $5,843,292.54 failed.
COVID payment of bills in the amount of $73,378.34. I make the motion.
Do we have a second? Moved by Councilwoman Mims, second by Councilwoman Cotton. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call for payment of bills, COVID-19 in the amount of $73,378.34. Councilwoman Cotton? Yes. Councilwoman Davila? Yes. Councilman Mendez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let the record reflect that we're receiving all the invoices with the amount, a total amount of $73,378.34. And my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Davila?
I think I wanted to look at, I don't know how many, if I could just quickly just ask the question, how many computers are on this COVID list, bills list? Because I know we've been asking for these laptops. How many? I see 40 pages, but I'm looking,
It looks like 6.
okay. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Payment of bills in the amount of $73,378.34 is hereby adopted.
Madam
Council
Clerk, we
President.
have, yes, Councilwoman.
Should we reconsider, since we have another council member here, for payment of bills to avoid employees not getting paid? Can we reconsider the payment of bills vote, please?
So, do you want to wait until we get more council members in here, or you want to do it at this time, Councilwoman Mims?
We can
And if we
wait.
do it now, we're going to need a motion, I guess, from,
It's gonna
excuse
be
me?
a tie.
So we'll wait.
Yes, sir.
So there is 2 items for discussion. There is one that's discussion between the council and myself and the members pertaining to an appointment at the Housing Authority.
Yes, sir.
We're going to remove that. We're not going to have that discussion tonight. We're not going to have that one tonight.
Are you going to take it off or tonight?
Yes, let's take it off. So we're going to have, the administration will be presenting their introduced budget tonight.
Mr.
So-
President, if I may, would you like me to add it to the next workshop for discussion, or wait
Yeah, we go add it to the next workshop.
for the next workshop?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, Council President,
Councilwoman Cotton.
I'm going to submit the names that I submitted like 3 years ago. I'm going to submit it to you for, no, it's nobody's appointment.
Is
It's
it,
the
is
city
it
council's
council,
appointment.
is it council appointment?
It's council members.
So I
has
recommend
to be a
every council
resident.
member to submit a name.
Right,
And
right.
then
We all can submit a name because it's a city council appointment. They have to have one residence that live in the housing authority. They can't be a resident not living in the housing authority. They must live in the
Sure.
housing authority.
So that would actually contribute to the discussion. I suggest that the rest of my colleagues do the same. And so at this time, we're gonna have a presentation on the budget.
Thank you, Council President, for affording me this opportunity to present our introduced budget. Good evening, everyone, members of the general public, those who are viewing here in the council chambers.
Good evening, Mayor.
And so I'm proud to present a budget which we believe is not only responsible, but austere, because some of the highlights of this budget include a reduction in spending and no increase to the municipal tax levy. And there's something to be said for that, the hard work of my team, and the fact that collaborating with the council, we've gotten to a point where you'll see no increase in the tax levy. In fact, we had to fight for this. There was pushback from the DCA, but we went back and said, look, the council and the administration have taken cooperative measures to ensure that during not only a public health crisis, but during a financial crisis, that we were able to avoid layoffs, and other municipalities have reduced their workforces. And we did not have to impose any unpaid furloughs on any employees to place any undue hardship during a pandemic. And so because of the calendar reversion, which the council supported, creating the sewer utility, the state health benefits plan, we're at a point where we don't have to increase our tax levy. So again, I can't emphasize it enough. There's no increase in the municipal tax levy. Also, another highlight is that this budget is 2.3% lower than last year's full budget, which is a reflection on the reduction in spending, belt tightening, which I'll elaborate on later. And also, we built on the two prior budgets, creating reserves for legacy expenses like insurance and retirement liabilities. And it's rare to build reserves, but it is responsible for us to do it going forward. And so, as far as the budget introduction agenda is concerned, I want to highlight the early important financial decisions that we've made since July 2018, other positive starting points in the calendar year, even during COVID, like belt tightening in fiscal year 20, and also the successful, like I stated before, successful calendar year reversion in the transitional year of last year. And then council priorities, shared priorities that we have, and then we'll detail the calendar year 21 budget, and then open the floor for discussion and questions. And so, let me elaborate further on early important financial decisions that we made since we assumed office shortly 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. The switch from being self-insured to the state health benefits plan has saved us at least $40 million as a municipality. So I believe it was a prudent move to make. Yes, as far as rollout is concerned, it's never a perfect process, but saving $40 million is something to be said about something that significant as far as savings are concerned. And then creating the sewer utility, again, it helps us as far as not relying on the general operating budget. So two early decisions made on, maybe not made early on, but not easy ones, but shared difficult decisions made by the administration and the council. I also want to point out the fact that when we first entered office, we asked for $40 million in transitional aid from the state. We ultimately got 33. It was actually 29 million and incentivized with an additional 4 million to take measures like switching to the state health benefits plan and creating a sewer utility. So we were rewarded for making those difficult decisions, for not kicking the proverbial can down the road. And I got to point out, we asked for 40 million, we got 33, which was incentivized with the 4. But then last year we got 24, and this year we're getting 21. So you see a pattern, a positive pattern occurring. We are reducing our reliance on state aid. We want to become self-sufficient. We don't want MOUs with the DCA anymore. And this will help us get there with this responsible and austere budget. Other items, or should I say decisions that we made that may be overlooked because they don't generate as much interest as the aforementioned initiatives, but our public safety consolidation. I see both Director Spezial and Chief McDermott, they played a role in that, and that saved us about $500,000 annually, so we thank you for your leadership on that issue. And then the public safety communications consolidation, that saved us about $400,000 with staff reductions for fiscal year 20 and $150,000 in savings for the calendar year 21. Now, this puts us in a positive starting point for the calendar year. As I stated earlier, and I cannot underscore the importance enough, so spending and hiring freezes for the last quarter meant that we wouldn't have to lay anyone off, and that was actually something that was being considered. And furthermore, there were no imposed, or we didn't have to impose any unpaid furloughs on employees. And so in a time like this where we have a pandemic and we're confronted with the virus, the last thing we wanted to do was let anyone go, nor did we want to reduce anyone's compensation. So we're proud of that, and we're proud of the fact that we can have a shared victory in that regard. And so that was fiscal year 20, and as far as the transitional year, same, conservative budgeting, belt tightening gets us to this point. And the calendar year reversion, which was something I've always supported, even when I sat in your seats, I believe that's provided an opportunity for a strong reserve for accumulated absences, about $3 million, and insurance of $5 million. And then the CARES Act funding, we use about $5 million of the $13 million to cover budgeting for public safety and health salaries and overtime and other citywide overtime. And that's something that the extra costs didn't have to fall upon the taxpayer. So this is, again, another shared victory on top of everything that we've had to contend with during this once-in-a-lifetime public health crisis. Now, shared priorities. During the budget hearings, a number of you have raised issues. For example, we'll be adding evening and weekend inspectors in housing and zoning, community improvements, and taxi division. So just want to point out that we've heard what you've had to say, and we're baking that into the budget. We're also adding a sanitation inspector just for Roselli's suburban oversight. And just today, I was informed by a law director, we're going to have to deduct about $20,000 because they missed a route. So we will penalize a company that is not fulfilling their obligations. Also, as far as recreation is concerned, you're going to see a 25% increase over the course of the last year as far as budget is concerned. And since I've taken office, our recreation spending, or investment in recreation, has been increased over 60%. We've had challenges with public safety. I talked to my counterparts in other municipalities, and they too are dealing with gun violence. And people are calling for increased investment in recreation. So we're focused on the future, we're investing in our youth, and that is outside of what we're doing with our fields and parks, which the council supports. In addition to the parks and field improvements, we're also focused on programming, and that's what the spending reflects. We're also filling priority vacancies citywide, especially in the clerk's office, council office, the library, public works, and we're increasing council expense accounts to $3,000 from $1,500 to better support our constituents. Shared priorities. So we're adding project managers, management specialists in city departments, including DPW and engineering. I know Councilwoman Mims has raised that issue in the past, so we're building that into the budget as well. We've moved the sewer office from the basement to the first floor here at City Hall. We're adding outside counsel to pursue foreclosures of properties with municipal liens. We're also funding the engineering assessment of our city roads, citywide, I should say. And then we're also supporting DPW equipment, auto maintenance, lift, stump grinder, things that are appropriate for service to our residents. So let's break it down as far as the details are concerned and the dollar and where it's going as far as spending and revenue is concerned. If you can silence your phones, we appreciate it. We do like your tone, but at this time we're trying to set a certain tone. That was Ernie Rucker. He's the culprit. I suggest we fine anyone who doesn't silence his or her phone. Now let's dive right into the details of our calendar year budget. Again, I want to emphasize this is an overall 2.3% decrease from the fiscal year budget. So it's about $256,000 $256 million budget. And if you juxtapose, if you take a look at the fiscal year 20 with the transitional year 20 and the calendar year 21, you'll see if these are full years, again, we're spending less. So that belt tightening is working. Austerity is the order of the day, as we would say in our office. Now, the details for the calendar year, as far as revenue is concerned, you could see we derive a great deal from our taxpayers. About 62% of our budget is comprised of municipal taxes. And I want to point out state aid, because right now 21% of our budget is dependent upon this state aid. Going forward, I believe we have to continue to wean ourselves off the state aid, exercise more independence, especially with the decisions that we make, and that can only happen if we continue to pursue new streams of revenue. There's been conversations about cannabis. I know there's preliminary talks about that. And clearly, we've seen interest as far as investment in the city is concerned, and we're going to continue to pursue those opportunities as far as economic development is concerned. Now, appropriations, you see a bulk of our spending, police and fire, 33%. Then you have your healthcare costs, your pension costs. These are built-in costs that we're liable to pay, and quite frankly, we want to continue to do so, and this budget will ensure that those appropriations will be dedicated to it. This specific slide is stark because it shows that local revenues are down. Why? Well, due to the pandemic, you've had the courts closed, there are certain license fees and other items where we couldn't necessarily collect at the rate we wanted to. We're very fortunate that our collection rate with the sewer and taxes has essentially been stable, but these are items where we have to take into consideration, you'll see a slight decrease, and that obviously is due to the circumstances. And the details for our calendar year 21 revenue, you can see there's a hospital contribution we're going to point to. It's something that this administration was able to negotiate with the hospital as far as paying their fair share is concerned. We've called it a community contribution, but it is a source of revenue that we have here. And then as far as our transitional aid is concerned, I mean, we have to reduce it every year based on our MOU, but based on what we've been told by the previous director of local government services, Melanie Walter, we're seeing an increase in our rateable base, which is something that is an encouraging sign, and we have to build on, and we will. Build is the operative word as far as building this city is concerned, because then you expand your rateable base. And we want to keep fighting to keep the tax levy flat. And this was a fight. It wasn't easy, but our tax levy, I'm proud to say, is flat. So that's something that we can share as far as a victory is concerned. And then as far as appropriations is concerned, I was discussing payments that we have to make relative to pension and healthcare costs. So those are things I won't delve too deeply into. And then let's look at our 5-year projection, which prior to this, if you were to look at this 2 years ago, looked grim as far as your budget gaps are concerned. But because of austerity measures that we've taken, difficult decisions that we've made, we're becoming more self-sufficient, and we're closing those budgetary gaps. And it won't be as wide as it has been in the past, or as stark as it's been in the past. And then just to discuss where the dollars are going, as far as the spending is concerned, service cost per person, there's additional information, and that's something that you can dissect. I want to let the council know that we've been listening. As far as the budget hearings are concerned, we've incorporated into the budget some of the priority items that you've outlined, and this is something that we should all share as far as a victory is concerned. No increase to the municipal tax levy, and a reduction in spending, which is reflected in the fact that there's a 2.3% decrease over last year's budget to this year's budget. And we were afforded this opportunity because of some of the decisions that we've made early on, and then switching from being a calendar year as far after operating as a fiscal year. And so going forward, we want to continue to have this dialogue. I want to also remind everyone I have extended an invitation to everyone to come and see me, and that invitation still stands, so we can talk about the budget or any other items that you'd like to discuss going forward. So Council President, thank you again for affording me this opportunity to introduce our budget.
Thank you. So, I'm gonna have a few questions, and I'm sure the council members are gonna follow up. But I'm gonna stop at just a few, and then I'm gonna dive in on other things. A simple question: did we get an award letter from the state yet for the transitional aid?
Yeah, we did, sir.
So you have the BA shaking her head no, and you're saying yes. So what is it?
Sorry, we don't have the final one. We're anticipating the 85% that we would expect. We don't have the final one yet.
So, that being said, we don't have to, have an outcry at the council for a budget to be introduced. That's one. Last meeting, we pointed out that we decided to do the transitional year budget. We went from fiscal to transitional year budget. So we were not put in the same situations that we were put in the past, where we will go almost the whole year with temporary budgets, and then it would be too late on the year to make any adjustments without having major layoffs and so on. So we didn't have a good reason this year to have this budget introduced this late on this year. Just want to point that out. That's one. I'm more concerned with the services that are going on. Everything's not just dollars and cents, Mayor. This budget represents a plan that needs to be executed. I have voted on several budgets this year thinking that the situation in the city would improve, that the services would improve. Tell me what this budget has different from the other 2 or 3 years.
So, Council President, I want to actually address what you raised earlier as far as the award letter is concerned, because we know exactly how much we're going to get, but the final letter we have yet to receive. That was held up with the uncertainty surrounding the sewer situation, so we should be receiving that relatively soon. But as far as services are concerned, yes, we've experienced some challenges, COVID-related, some as well. And in here, we built in the budget where we'll be spending more money on equipment with Public Works, which has clearly been a challenge in the past. And going forward, we're hoping that we can address that with some of the smart spending that we can make.
So, is it safe to say, Mayor, that we already have been on this plan, which is this budget, for the first 6 months of the year? And I want to hear from you. Do you think that the first 6 months we have showed improvement in all the areas that we have and the residents have been complaining for a while?
And like I stated before, I will concede that there's always improvements that need to be made. We've made adjustments. There's been challenges with personnel. Like I stated before, COVID has posed significant problems for us. But again, going forward, noting that there are opportunities for improvement, we're confident that we can address those challenges.
And I don't want to turn this into something negative, but I guess I'm heading that way, Mayor. Before the COVID, we had the same situation. The services decreased every year before the COVID. Now, the COVID, yes, it was, a tragedy. Tragedy. Could we get some water in here? I don't think we have water. I asked for that earlier. Please, thank you. But at the same time, working in finance has seen all the resources that have come in. COVID have been a financial blessing, believe it or not, Mayor. I don't see you could ask any municipality in the state of New Jersey. Some municipalities, that wasn't the intent of the funding that was given to the municipalities, but some surplus was created in some municipalities. That wasn't the intent. But just because you had a budget already and you use a lot of this funding to reimburse those budgets, those unspent funds at the end of the year get closed out to surplus. So my question is, and I have another issue also, Mayor, I've been asking for FEMA applications that we have submitted, which is strange. Everything that is submitted needs to be approved by the council, and I haven't seen one yet. But we've been told by the administration that you guys have been submitting FEMA applications, which that budget that we approved last year should have never been used for that use. We already were getting about $1.8 million from the county. We were told that we could get more if we finished that money, and we decided to gamble and submit some expenses to FEMA, which would only, if approved, will only give us 85%. That means that our budget and our taxpayers will pick up the other 15. Just want to point that out. Haven't seen anything yet. I requested that 2 weeks ago. I asked in finance today, and they're working on it. But the council as a body have not seen one FEMA application being presented to the body. Just want to point that out. So my question to the CFO, how much surplus do we have?
At the end of, right now, we have $3 million.
$3 million. How much did we have last year?
2.2.
Okay, and I'm glad to see that this budget actually doesn't have, we're not using any surplus to supplant any revenues. But, I spoke to some of my colleagues, and they have, we got to find a way somehow to give back to the taxpayers. We hit them already with the sewer. The district has hit them with increases. We also have seen other increases, throughout the year. But we need to see a plan, Mayor. I know this is your plan that you're submitting to us, but under this plan, the first 6 months, I haven't seen improvement in services. So that's the issue that I'm having right now. Council colleagues, if anyone want to jump in, anyone want the floor?
Council President,
Councilman Jackson.
before I go into a series of questions, I think most of the items you addressed is really on target. But I think it would be fair, Mr. Mayor, if you can kind of elaborate. The public is due an answer when we talk about being a recipient of poor services. When you say that COVID was a major hindrance, what exactly did COVID was the cause of such poor services that the community received by COVID? We understand it was a catastrophic event. We had a number of people who lost their lives, but as Council President clearly pointed out, there's been a clear financial benefit. The city has actually found itself having more money this year than it has in a very long time, and yet we have innocent people losing their lives, I think that's the real sticking point. And then we have the services that's throughout the city that's just been absolutely terrible. So outline to the residents, what was the cause what did COVID cause that was so catastrophic that put a hindrance on services?
Well, Councilman, first, it's unfortunate you arrived late, because I did present some of that information during the budget address. But I want to revert to the council president as far as what we're giving back. It's a flat levy. I mean, this is almost unprecedented in a time like this, to give people a flat levy, no increase. And that's something that we can all share as far as a victory is concerned. But Councilman Jackson, you know what we're continuing to endure, because the pandemic is not over. We still have people who are contracting the virus on a daily basis. And we've had individuals within public works, public safety, contract it, but it's not just about the individual that infected. You have to quarantine, so it affects shifts, it affects crews, and it's posed a major problem and a major challenge, and people are afraid, and they'll call out sick as a result. Once they find out maybe someone that they worked with was infected, and maybe they didn't come into close contact with them, but they take it very seriously, and they don't want to come to work for that reason. So managing that reality has been very difficult.
So, Mr. Mayor, the thing is, these problems are not isolated to Patterson. These are not isolated issues. And, the reason that it raises some concern is that there was a great deal of employees that was actually mandated to come to work. The women in the tax office, they were forced to come to work, frantic, very afraid, but at the same time, you had other members of your administration that was conveniently able to work from home and never came to work. So we understand that COVID presented its challenges, but every other municipality, no municipality in the state of New Jersey, in the United States, was exempt from those same issues. But yet and still, Patterson seems to have received a grunt of the impact when it comes to the services that was rendered. I understand that, your commentary was that I came late, but the question is not to me. The question is for those who are watching at home, those who are calling consistently for the poor services that's rendered by the garbage company, which is a third-party company that we should be managing, much better. These issues that have been ongoing are continuing. So we're blaming everything on COVID, but yet these are the same issues that we've been dealing with. And at the same time, your administration has had the luxury of having a financial injection that no other administration has had. I want to make sure we make that clear.
So, Councilman, a few things that you missed because you were late. One, we are fining the garbage company. In fact, today, our law director can confirm $20,000 for a missed route. So that's definitely holding our third party accountable. And then as far as working remotely is concerned, we were looking to save lives, and we were able to protect people as a result. So if it wasn't necessary for people to be physically in work, we didn't mandate that for them. And one thing you did miss too, there are municipalities that had to lay people off, and I know you don't want to lay anybody off, and there's municipalities that had to impose unpaid furloughs on their employees. I know you don't want to do that either, and we didn't do it. So amidst the public health crisis, we had a financial crisis. I know we're talking about a windfall, but still, it hasn't been easy navigating this situation, especially last year when we were at the peak of this pandemic.
Yeah.
Councilman Abdelaziz?
Council President.
Thank you, Council President. So if you could just give me a couple minutes, Council President, I am going to propose an initiative. When we get budgets in front of us and we continue doing the same thing over and over again, we go back to our residents and the taxpayers, they ask us, what are we getting for our taxes? I hear it all the time in the 6th Ward, the taxes are very, very high. And they point out to the border towns that represent my ward and say, look what I get and look what happens across the street, from parks to snow removal to garbage removal, etc. One thing that I think the taxpayers have constantly made it a point to me, and my colleagues, I know I shared this with you, is where is the relief? Where is the relief when a budget comes in front of us? And I've heard for years and years and years, we cannot give a tax cut, right? Because once we get state aid, the state mandates us that we have to raise the levy or whatever we have to do. So one thing that I do want to do, and I do want to work with this council and this administration, I've mentioned it across the board, is that we must establish within a budget, and I don't see it in this budget, but hopefully we can work together to get this done, we should establish a residential rebate program. So we hear about, and bear with me, many of my residents say, I pay full taxes, but other people get abatements. There's programs to help out development. But where's the programs for the residents that live in the city and pick up the tax burden? A resident told me that they have a 2-family and a 35 unit in South Patterson only pays $9,000 more in taxes than that 2-family. So they say, where's the relief for me? So to my council colleagues, I think we need to create a rebate program which this council and in a budget funds in a line item through a department where our residents, Patterson residents, I'm mirroring this with the senior rebate program. In the state, there's a senior rebate. You hit a certain age, you get a rebate. If you're a year younger, you don't get it. So in Patterson, the residential owners apply for this rebate, and every year it'll be a line item in the budget, and that's their relief. That's what I think we need to look at. We need to be creative. I know it's not in front of us now, Mayor, but I do want to put on the record, when we have something like this, I'm willing to work with Corporation Counsel, and I know we've had this dialogue to see the legalities of it. The BA has sent me for 1 families, 2 families, and condos that Patterson residents live there. This isn't for the landlords. This isn't for the people that own 5 2-families and live in another town. This is for our residents, and it would be within this budget, so you're not giving a tax decrease. It's a program. It's a rebate program. And I know I mentioned with the council president, this is something that I need a commitment from this administration looking forward in there. And it'll be a yearly approval rebate program just for Patterson residents. and property owners. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman, and that's what I meant, Mayor. I just didn't want to take the spotlight. This is an initiative that Councilman De La Cis brought up, and I was trying to basically, in our conversation, trying to find ways that we could probably fund this through the city's finances, and it wasn't ready to come to the council yet. It's just like any colleague brings an idea, and we're entertaining it. That's why I laughed when you had a response from me that we have a zero levy. That's not what I meant. I mean giving back. We have hit so many residents with different fees this year, and including the sewer fees, and this is the way to go. We need to sit down. If this administration would actually sit down with the council, we all bring something to the table. But since day one, Mayor, and this is my frustration, since day one, this administration haven't taken this council seriously. Don't work with us. Don't sit down with us. Don't share ideas with us. Remember, we're out there every day talking to the people, to the residents. They tell us the concerns that they have, the issues that they have. I'm sure they also tell you. But I'm sure if we all get together, that means that there is 10 of us that they're communicating with. We could all bring something to the table and work things out, but I haven't been able to work with this administration for the past 3 years. And I think a lot of the decisions that have been made have been very, irresponsible from this administration. That being said, Councilman De La Cis, you wanted to add something.
Councilor, I do beg to differ. I said an invitation stands for
Mayor,
anyone that
listen,
wants to meet with
Mayor,
me, and
Mayor,
you've met with me in the
Mayor.
past as well.
You're gonna get the floor, Mayor.
Yes.
Let me I just gave the floor to,
No, and
to the
like I
council.
stated to my council colleagues, I'm gonna be working with the administration and corporation council to get this resolution, or if it has been, I think it's a resolution. We're currently writing it, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you guys will get the Abdelaziz residential rebate program resolution. And for right, Ernie will call it ARP.
I think that's taken already.
All right, so, I believe Councilman Mendez wanted the floor, and then Councilman Velez. Councilwoman Mims.
Thank you, Council President. I think that, you talk some of the point that I have on my list over here. I hear, the mayor presentation on the budget. But I think that, what we're getting is the phone call that we're getting every day from the constituents, from the community, about the concerns that are affecting our city. I see your budget, I see the number, I see that you increase up some position, you put some new people in position. But the question that we're getting from the community is that what happened with the amount of taxes that we pay in terms of the service that we're getting? And you heard this before, Mayor, you out there, the service has been diminished tremendously, and all at all the level, and all what people see and the concern that they have is the crime that we have in the city. When it comes to garbage collection, the disaster that we have, snow removal, the same situation, the homeless population that been increased tremendously, and drug addict. So what people want to see is like, what is the plan that the administration have in connection with this budget? We all know that the budget reflects the quality of service that this administration will provide to the community. But right next to this, we definitely want to hear Mayor talking about those problems that are affecting us right now. What is the plan for that? I know we got the numbers over here in front of us, but that's the concern that I know that you hear every single day, and also as well. I think that we definitely have to address this topic right now.
So a budget is a bundle of priorities, and we prioritized public safety. And I want to elaborate on that because, quite frankly, there's an uptick in gun violence almost in every city. I talk about this with my counterparts in other cities like Newark, Jersey City, Camden. We have this conversation all the time, and we exchange information as far as what's happening in our municipalities and what we're doing. I mean, gun suppression is something that we've done this year effectively, but there's just a proliferation, or should I say a flood of guns. When I discussed this with my director, we confiscated 26 in February, 22 in April. Then last year in the span of 24 hours, we took 4 guns, then we took 2 guns in 2 hours the next day, and then we took 1 the next morning. We continue to get these guns, but like we stated before, there's just so much that are infiltrating our borders, but it's happening almost everywhere. But our plan is to continue with gun suppression. Our plan is to continue with our extra patrol initiative. Our plan is to continue to work with our federal, state, and county partners on operations. Take a look at what happened April 30th. We announced that there was a takedown of 25 gang members, and there will be more. We will continue to be hyper vigilant as far as the gang activities are concerned and the drug activity is concerned. And if I want to point out something that happened early on in the pandemic, when there was a lockdown, borders were closed, and the demand for drugs was higher than ever. But we cut off that supply from coming in, but the demand remained very high. And as a result, there was infighting, and then you saw violence, the gun violence erupt as a result. And so drugs are at the heart of everything. We're focused on narcotics as well. In fact, I spoke to our captain of narcotics today. There's a number of operations that he's working on. And I'd even point out that the state police is here as well, and they're going to be announcing an initiative that they just completed.
Council President, just in closing, Mayor, now that you're talking about police safety, I sent a memo to the administration, to your administration, requesting the fully support of the sheriff department into the city of Patterson. What's going on, Mayor? Let me just share with you and with all the viewers. Sunday morning, I visited the mother of the young man, Kelvin, that was killed on Saturday night. When you see a situation like that, it's hard. There's nothing we can say to make that mother feel better. If in your position, you should be calling the state and asking for help in this city, because the National Guard should be in the city of Patterson. Patterson is out of control, Mayor. I sent a memo to the administration requesting the fully support of the sheriff department and parks and all the area. I don't know where we are with that, and I would like to hear from you why we don't see enough manpower from the sheriff department in our street helping the police department.
When you say National Guard, I don't think you understand what that means. But as far as the federal government is concerned, they're here. The U.S. Attorney, they did announce that takedown. They were the lead agency on that. As far as the state is concerned, the Attorney General is in Patterson as well. They're the lead agency on a number of operations. And the county has been a partner, so that includes the sheriff. And they took part in the takedown that we announced on April 30th. So all levels are here in the city of Patterson, and they're hyper-focused. And that is a testament to the relationships that we've built between the police department and law enforcement entities.
So given that we're on this topic, let's just put out there to the public. We've been struggling to meet our organizational chart when it comes to our police. How many officers do we have at this moment? I believe we're under 400.
We are.
We're supposed to be at 419.
We want to get to 419.
Okay. Where are we? What strategies are we putting in place?
Yeah.
Because I just don't understand. For the last 3 years, we haven't been able to get there.
So
What are we doing?
I'm glad you acknowledge that this is a priority of the cities, because it has been. And quite frankly, for example, there's an academy that's going to be graduating in a few weeks. We started off with 16, now we have 8. So these are individuals that were unable to complete some of the requirements within the academy. So half. Then we make a call, and about 200 people that we try to recruit, and only 60 people respond. Sure, you've been following the news. Policing right now is not a very popular profession. And so they're not gravitating to the city. Let me finish. We have another academy in July. We're hoping to have 25 by July 17th, 25 cadets in that academy. Can I guarantee that they will all complete the requirements? No, I can't. But what I can guarantee is that we're making the effort to call the people in and making sure that academies are available so that we can train people.
Our
And
salaries,
selection is very important. We just don't want to hire any police officers because, as you know, we've had issues with police officers and misconduct.
Mayor, is our salary competitive when we compare ourselves to other municipalities?
Well, I wouldn't compare us to Bergen County and other suburbs, but we should be competitive with other municipalities that are similar
it's
to us.
not that we should.
Yeah.
Either we are or we're not.
And quite frankly, I don't believe it's a matter of salary, like I stated before.
But Mayor?
we make a, let me finish. So we would extend an invitation to 200, and we'll get less than half of the people responding.
So Mayor, when we have this conversation, this is too important to use the word "I believe." You often said what gets measured gets done when you were running for mayor. So this is something you need to know, like what's affecting our recruitment. We need to know this, so we could address it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need the assistance of the director, but we can't say we believe. We need to know what's.
For the reasons I stated earlier, I outlined.
You did,
Yeah.
and those are
People
some.
are not completing the academy. So I
Understood.
can't do a push-up for anybody. I cannot discharge a weapon for someone. If that
So-
person cannot do it, we don't want them as police officers.
Just a minute, Mayor. So, Director, are we competitive when it comes to salaries for the new officers? Hold on, sorry.
You know, for the cities, I would say we're competitive. But what happens is, we go out with 200 people, as the mayor stated. The first day, we call for 100 off of the list. We got 52. The next day, we call for 100 off of the list. We got 48. And then out of that, imagine, who doesn't make the psychological? Who can't do the physical? Who decides and says, I don't know if I want to be a police officer anymore. We're getting a lot of that. And then, once they get the experience here in the city of Patterson from, you know, the multitude of jobs that they handle, we bleed because if they're not a civil servant, we can hold them. I put a policy in place. You have to stay here for the 5 years or I will not sign an intergovernmental transfer to another city that's a civil service city. However, if you go to a Chiefstown, a Wayne, you know, an Elmwood Park, any of these other towns, they can pretty much just resign and take that job. So that's what happened.
And you can confirm that we interviewed 35 individuals today.
Yes, just starting over this week, we've been interviewing all week, and we're up to 35 people that we're interviewing right now.
Director, I'm sure there's a lot of factors to take into account when leaving, but is one of them the salary?
Well, you know, I don't want to say that the salary is low. What I want to tell you is that if somebody offers you more money, it becomes a salary issue. That's what happens. We had a kid that left for Wayne. Well, I don't want to say a kid, an officer that left for Wayne, and Wayne was willing to give that officer a $20,000 bump in pay. We can't.
So can we do the same?
No, we could never.
We can never go to another town and recruit the same way. We can't offer other people. Why not?
Because we're a civil service and we have steps in the contract. So because of the 10 or 15 steps in the contract, we couldn't take somebody that's a brand new officer and say, okay, I'm going to start you at step number 5 because then it would be in violation of the contract.
So that's something to look at.
Yeah.
Right now you're working on contracts. If there's something that's affecting us, right? We're like a farm team, right? We're creating all these players, and once they're ready to go up to the major leagues, the other teams just take them. There's nothing in place that would, you know, prevent them from doing so, but we got to have a tool also in place that we could also get officers from other towns. I think that's an unfair advantage. Excuse me?
There's a new Senate bill that's been passed, and what's going to take place, if you put yourself through the alternate route police academy, you know, like the sheriff has the volunteer deputy sheriffs, if you go through the academy on your own, we're going to now be able to pull from the civil service list, and we will be able to pull from the person that has a police academy certification, which means they can go right to work here in the city of Patterson. There's a lot of people that want to do that, but we're going to have to come forward with an ordinance so that we know how that how that procedure will work for us to make that selection. But that is coming, and that will help us tremendously because we won't be waiting 6 months for a police officer.
So one last thing. So every year we budget for 419, and we've been below 400, you know, the last 3 years, I would say. That's why I'm in favor of that initiative that Councilman Abdelaziz just brought up.
It's up to him.
That we could shift money, right, depending on how we are, right? Right now we're 6 months into the year. We're not gonna spend all the money that's in that budget, and it could either go 2 places, right? Surplus, actually 3 places. Surplus, overtime, or it gets transferred at the end of the year to cover other positions in other departments. So this is the frustration that I'm having, you know, looking at this budget. I also ask, just to let the public know, because you hear me before, I ask that they separate. I had this discussion today in finance, and I think that's why my voice is a little off today. I've been talking about this for almost a year now, where they need to separate the retirement payouts from their budget and have a separate line in the budget. If you look at this budget today, this introduced budget doesn't have that there. But I did speak to the CFO in finance and the BA, and they say they will separate it. Just want to let my colleagues know.
And Council President, I can appreciate your baseball analogy as far as the farm team is concerned, but to the original point with attrition, some people can never make it to the major leagues, and we don't want individuals patrolling our streets that are not ready. They can't discharge a firearm. They can't do the requisite number of push-ups. We don't want that happening.
Nobody's
'cause then
asking
that's-
for that, Mayor.
That would be a lawsuit. But you were asking me for part of the root cause of the issue.
We're
And
asking.
that's what it is. We're
asking
committed
for
to getting to
services
419.
that every other town is getting.
But that's been an impediment.
That's what we're
So that
asking for
answers
our
your
residents, that's
question.
all.
That answers your question.
So you have Councilman Velez, then Councilwoman Mims, Councilman Khalid.
Thank you, Council President. First of all, I just want to say, I apologize for my lateness before the mayor told me that I came in late. You know, the discussion between the president of the council and the director regarding if a salary is the issue, I would say with no remorse, not afraid, that yes, it's an issue. If you pay our employees in general, I'm talking every department, a good salary, they will be attracted to work hard. They would put more energy into what they do, okay? And you could get better from those employees. And their morale will be different. But when you look at employees that in the city is getting $30,000 or $28,000 for a CDL license, driving a truck, a DPW, when they call and talk to Clifton and talk to any city around us, surrounding us, they in $40,000, $45,000, $50,000, they're gonna say, hell no, I don't wanna work no more like the way I work. So salary is an issue, is a situation. I never will agreed, and everybody has their own opinion, of bringing the National Guard to our city. We don't want the military our city. Well, we need to equip our city, our police officers with the right equipment, the right cars, the right technology. And I'm not gonna say that you have not doing it. Other administration have been doing it, but it's not enough. Every day we need to do something new. Every day we need to lobby different. Every day we need to make sure that our employees in the city of Patterson and our taxpayer receive the best of any administration that comes to Patterson. There was a question that Council President made about the state aid. And you said a yes, and Madam BA in the back say no. Then she say we were receiving 85% of the state aid. But 85% of what?
85% over last year's amount. So you would take.
Last year was what, 27?
Last year was about 24.
24?
Yeah.
We're receiving
Yeah.
20 million.
What was that?
We're receiving 20 million.
So this year would be 20. So it'd be 85% of the award last year. So every year it'll decrease, which is what we want to happen.
So what was the plan if you receive 65% of that? If you have already
So it'd be
partial,
85%. It's written in the MOU. So every year we would be lessening the amount of transitional aid we receive, or they would lessen.
And you know, I've been reading this presentation, Mayor. There's a lot of things that you put here that have been done in the past administration, and it's already budgeted in the past. So, like for example, hiring secretaries, hiring supervisors for DPW. They already was budget fund. There was already budget in the other budgets. You know, it was a line item to do. So if the administration did not hire them, it's administration decision. But a lot of things that is here is already budgeted in the past, but they were not taking place. But saying, you know, to pitch that you're gonna give us $3,000 to better serve better serve the community, okay? you had to explain, and you was a councilman, and you was sitting here.
Actually, when I was a councilman, they took our expense accounts away.
Actually, they froze it because we froze it, and because we was in bad position in financial. So saying that, you know, and I don't want to elaborate the same thing that my colleagues. The people of Patterson deserve better, especially our our employees, you know, and our taxpayers. There's two bases in government: taxpayers and employee. And you know, good luck. I gotta say good luck. Right?
Thank you, Councilman. I want to focus.
Good luck. Good luck, Mayor. You know why? Because when I say good luck, it's because, as Council President stated, and sorry I raised my voice, you know, I don't try to raise my voice a lot. But as my Council President stated, a lot of administration have taken us for granted. I thought you was not going to do that. It's nice that you invite us for meeting and different conversation to explain what you've been doing or what you want to do with this budget. But I just want to say good luck.
Thank you. And I want to focus on the flat levy, which I feel is a significant victory.
One flat
for
levy
officer.
that could be a little bit trickier down the road. Let me
Well,
tell you how.
We have to focus. On
It could
the
be,
moment.
it could be nice and beautiful in your screen. I love that at least you take an example from the past administration using the dollar, okay? But it could be a little bit tricky because you could say there was no tax increases in the property, there was no this and that, but there's always a hiding agenda on it because you don't increase taxes, but then you increase the value of the property, that becomes a little bit paying money for the city.
Yeah, Councilman.
Okay, we didn't increase the taxes, but yes, let's increase the value of the property, and they still have to pay more taxes. So I just want you to be more transparent, more fiscal responsible with your money, and you spending a lot.
Actually,
So you are spending a
when
lot.
you and I
So-
do meet,
From
we'll
this
talk
point
about
on, you are.
austerity of the
Mayor,
budget.
From this
Mayor.
point on, you are.
I'll give you the
Yes.
floor, man, but just ask
Yes.
for the floor. You know, you're
And-
not
Well, I was
changing.
just speaking of the austerity of the budget.
Thank you, thank
The
you.
reduction in spending.
I guess you don't have to ask for the floor. He said what he wanted to say. Councilwoman Mims.
So first of all, let me just say and put this on the record. It amazes me when the mayor wants something, he shows up to the meeting. But with all the shootings to the black and brown community, he has not been present. So I just want to put that on the record to the public first. Also, I like the ARAP, Abdelaziz plan. That sounds great. I don't have the details, but it sounds great. I'll name it ARAP. But there is something that I've been advocating for to this administration, even in our finance committee, and Councilman Velez alluded to it. I didn't just talk about it. I actually put it in writing, and I gave it to the administration. There's a competitive pay scale analysis. We have approximately 1,440 employees that work for the city of Patterson, and there are 457 employees that make less than $20 an hour. 15 of those employees have been working for the city for about 25 years, and you can see the variation. Out of that number, 83% of those employees work in DPW. There are other departments that are included in this mix, but I've pushed it to the administration with some recommendations that we need to take a look at, and I agree with you, Councilman Velez, we need to look at salaries. I know we're in negotiations, that's totally separate from what I'm pushing. When you go into negotiations, you look and you're doing a scale, 0, 2%, whatever that looks like. But we need to also look at the employees that we call. They get texts, it's on social media. They get called to clean up properties that people leave abandoned in our city, and we have no plan for it. They get called to clean up areas where there's needle syringes. They get called to clean up the railroad tracks, where money comes into the city for that, but there's no commensurate pay for the employees. I think Councilman Jackson alluded to it when he talked about COVID. We have employees that are riding 2 and 3 in the truck. So if COVID hits and one person gets COVID, or 2 people are in a car, the other person is in the same vicinity of COVID and then they're out. So what if someone doesn't have sick pay? So after a certain amount of days, it goes into their personal sick pay. There's no plan in place for a lot of these things. And I think as the administration, since we're in an open dialogue and you want to have one-on-ones, I'm just going to say it, I'm not having any one-on-ones, personal meeting. We can do it possibly in committees or a council of the whole. But I don't want to have a one-on-one meeting and it gets under the rug, it never comes to fruition, no one hears about it.
Is the money supported in this budget for your initiative?
It could be.
No, but is it right now?
It could be. It could be. That's what I'm putting. Is the RAP supported?
What is that?
Is the plan that was recommended supported by Al?
No, I mean it is a good thing. Right now we're still in the process of, this
Oh, I
is the
know,
nature of
but
this budget, it could be changed, so that's what I'm
Council
asking.
President, I'm putting it on the floor. I get what you're saying, but I want to put it on the floor because sometime if it's not stated openly amongst everybody, it's like it was never said. So I want to put it on the floor. There's so many recommendations, even last week, and I'm going to bring it up again, the $63.7 million that we got from the American Rescue Plan. It was given to this municipality. So we were waiting. The council colleagues have been asking, please make sure the council is included in the dialogue. We've been asking. I was on a call and I heard it stated that they received at least half of the money. So I asked the question last week as though I didn't know the answer, only to find out that this city has already received $33.5 million. When it came to the COVID money before, by the time it came to the council for us we were there to vote on it. We had no input, there were no recommendations, so I'm putting it back on the floor again while the mayor is present. Please include the council in the discussion. Please allow input from the council for these recommendations. We rarely see you in the meetings. So while you're here, we got to take all of our advantage. I know it elongates the meeting, but it's very rare that we see you, and I'm sure you'll talk about some other things before you leave on tonight. But Mayor, please, Council President has said it, other people have said it, you got to work with this council. You got to be able to cross across the lines. It doesn't matter what your personal feelings are. It's not personal, it's business. And we got to work together because we're working for the community. Councilman Mendez said it. He went to visit the mom. How many moms have we visited? Councilwoman at the hospitals and been to the funerals. It's a really sad occurrence going on every single day that this is happening. And I know some people say, well, it's not the mayor's fault. It's not. But you are the chief executive officer of the city. And the city needs to hear something from you, some level of resolve, some level of conversation that, okay, we're working on it. They don't want to see you show a picture of a big weapon that you found. They don't want you to, they don't mind the police director does that. That's fine. But they don't want you to do that. It becomes a deflection. We have to work on doing something to make this city safe. The summer is not here yet. We are not at summer yet, and it is very scary. I'm almost scared that someone's grandmother is going to be walking somewhere and they're going to be in the line of gunshot. I'm scared there's going to be somebody's baby in a stroller. So I'm begging, I'm not asking, I am begging that we do something to ensure that the money and what you're proposing, it fits all of these areas. There's a lot of areas to fit. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. So Mayor, as we're going through this process, because you got to count. You're going to have to count to get to the number. And I want the public to understand, even though this is for 0%, there's 3 areas to the tax levy. It's the county, it's the city, and then there's the school board. So you get it from all, if it's a 0 here, and a 0 at the county, and there's an increase from the school, you still get a tax increase. So the community needs to understand that, even when it sounds great on paper, and yes, you have, I commend you, you did the night inspect, I commend you for that. You've done the project managers, I commend, but we need a lot more. So I'm just putting it on the record openly, and I'm sure I'll have more conversation and dialogue. I see Council President shaking his head, but we don't see him often, Council President, so I gotta get it out while I can. Thank you.
Council President.
So
I just want to address the original point that the Vice President raised relative to gun violence. The most painful part of this job is consoling families. 2 weeks ago was the hospital consoling two sons who not only lost a brother, but they lost a mother as a result of the violence. And I've been out in the community speaking to families. The public safety director can attest to the fact that we make the calls. Every day we're thinking about different ways, discussing with other mayors that are experiencing something similar as to what we can do to prevent the next shooting, the next homicide. May I just finish, because you had an opportunity to finish? So that's exactly what we've been hyper-focused on. And you know my door is always open, and I've extended an invitation to all council members, and that invitation still stands. Whomever would like to meet with me, if you'd like to meet with a couple of council people, by all means, come to my office. We'll have a dialogue relative to whatever these topics that you feel are a priority is concerned, and we'll make them our priorities. Because I've made it a point to say that these are shared priorities within this budget and shared victories that we can essentially both claim.
Mayor, I'll say it again. You have not contacted all those families. I'm sure they're watching. You can't insult their intelligence.
I didn't say I contacted
I know
all families,
you're pointing
but I
out
make it a
one.
point. I said it's the
Sometimes
most painful
mayors-
part.
Council members.
Sometimes, Mayor.
It's painful.
Sometimes, Mayor,
It's very
is not,
painful
is, I'm not,
to make a call or to make a
it's
visit.
So
not
council
a
members,
tobacco.
let's take to the matter at
I
hand.
am. Let me just
Please.
finish, Council President, at this point. It's not for tobacco. I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff going on, Mayor. Don't sweep it under the rug. Reach out to the community. They need to hear from you. You are the Chief Executive Officer. It's great that other people are, but they need to hear from you. And it can't be, I went to visit this family, but there was 15 other families that you didn't talk to.
Well, as far as
It
outreach is
can't be a pick
concerned,
and choose. You have to,
tomorrow I will be meeting with
Council
a
President.
specific neighborhood
Council President, you're gonna have
So-
to get control over
with
this.
department heads.
Comes in
So,
disrespectful.
council members and mayor, let's try to stick, to the matter at hand. Let me just say this real quick. I'm gonna use what you stated, Councilwoman Mims, when I asked you if it was included in here, is because as finance chair, I like the idea that you propose. All I asked was that the administration at least say, how is it feasible? Like how we could include it in this budget for this to be accomplished, right? That was the intent of my, my comment. Also, Mayor, what we're trying to prevent, and we don't know what else to do now, right? $133 million of credits were, given to the city. There was no input from the council at all.
160,
Well,
160
when
million.
in the inception, it was 133. It did go up another 20 million, I believe. But there was no input from the council at all. COVID funding. There were some council members, including myself, who were like, can we help, the business owners? You had the county that actually told you that once we finished the $8 million that we were allocated, we could ask for more. But there was not a plan in place, or maybe an effective plan in place. Let me rephrase that. An effective plan in place to spend the funding and then ask for more from the county. That's that. And we don't want the $63 million that we're supposed to get for the same thing to happen. There's a lot of need. I don't want, it's election time, and I'm not saying you would do this, Mayor, but I want to make sure that everything that we do is for the benefit or the best interest of the community. We got to get the best use out of the money that we're getting, the $63 million.
Well, as far as the project is concerned, with Hinchliffe Stadium, we did incorporate a number of suggestions relative to senior housing. Yes, we did. Child
Mayor,
care. There were a number of items
Mayor,
that we incorporated into the project.
So this is what happened. There's a Spanish saying, right? If it rains lemons, learn how to make lemonade. So we're in a situation that we were not given a choice. It's either we're going to do Hinchcliffe. I asked you a lot of times here. I said, Mayor, and I'm sorry this is not part of the budget, but we are talking about funding. I said, Mayor, at the time, if the Steinbrenners at the time will come in from the Yankee Stadium and say, look, we want to build a $400 million, stadium there. You were stuck on the same investors. It was them and no one else, right? It was not a competitive. You know what? I don't want to go back to that, Mayor, but it's just so frustrating. We want to make sure the same thing doesn't happen with the $63 million. We have a lot of need in the city, and they need to be addressed.
It's hard to argue against senior citizen affordable housing, reviving a stadium that's been fallow for a long time, that's been a magnet for crime.
It's a bigger picture, though.
And then enhancing
That's the way
Great
you're selling
Falls.
it.
It's
Nobody's
hard to
against
argue,
the seniors.
especially with the item you have on the agenda
this is
tonight.
like a debate for mayor, and I'm not even running. This is funny. Wait, Councilman Khalid has the floor. Councilman Khalid has the floor. You haven't spoken yet? No, after colleague. Council.
Is me. Thank you. Thank you, Council President. It looks great that from 2020 to 21, we have an overall 2.3% decrease on our budget. But at the same time, we're hiring all this new individual. I don't even know how is it possible. Mayor, in this budget, does CARES money included in this budget?
CARES Act in this
CARES,
budget?
yes.
No.
It's not, correct? How about the 63 million that we are
No,
receiving?
it wouldn't be.
So basically,
These are
if you
separate and
add
apart.
those money into $256 million that's presented to us, the budget probably going to be over 330, more than that. I'm not doing the adding right now. So in reality, the budget for 2021 is not 256 million, isn't it? Am I right, or?
Actually, that's inaccurate.
What is
Because
accurate?
you're
then?
citing, and you should know this, you should do your homework. CARES Act money is restricted.
don't-
There are
don't-
certain
I'm
items that
asking
you
you,
can spend
Mayor,
on with CARES Act money.
I'm just asking.
And second,
Listen, Mayor,
with the American
Mayor,
Rescue
can I speak?
Plan,
Mayor,
there are guidelines.
I'm just asking.
There are
for a-
guidelines.
Listen, Council President, I'm just asking for a clarification, and he's stating I should do my homework.
So, Council President, my point is,
So-
it's not
so-
fair to combine or conflate
So,
the CARES Act money and the American Rescue Plan, because as you know, there are certain guidelines and
Mayor,
restrictions, so.
I'm
I
not
know,
going to speak
but
for him,
quite
but
frankly-
the point is very clear. What he's basically stating is that the resources that are going to be available for this upcoming
above
year
and beyond.
are going to be the
Above
number that
and
he's
beyond
stating.
the budget.
You know, it's just the way it was expressed. Yes, the budget is 256 right now. That is going to change also. As soon as you get more grants in, that money
Correct.
will go up. And on that note, and I know you still have the floor.
Go ahead.
On that note, have the administration already decided how is that money going to be shown? When are we doing a resolution to accept this money? How is it going to work? And then you can have the floor again,
Are
Councilman.
you referring to the American Rescue Plan?
Yes.
Yeah, no decisions have been made, and that's what I'm
So
saying.
2 weeks ago, we were told that the administration was going to look into it to see how it was going to be handled. Do you know how it's going to be handled?
So we're reviewing
When it comes
guidelines
to, when
now.
it comes to including it in the budget,
Like I stated before, we are reviewing guidelines at the moment. There's areas that we can agree on as far as infrastructure improvement is concerned, maybe recreational enhancements. But like
So-
I said, these are just preliminary conversations that we've had and we'd like to
So-
have with the council.
so Mayor, and I hope the conversation we have before, if let's say they require a budget to be submitted, I'm not saying they are, but if they are requiring a budget to be submitted, we want to make sure that we include it because my experience on this council is that your administration submits the budgets and then they come to us and then, oh, it's too late, we already submitted a budget. Shouldn't be like that. We need to work together.
And we will.
You still have the floor, Councilman Kalik.
I lost my wording. And also, the flat levy sound great, Mayor. You have a relationship with the state. Every year, they ask us to raise our levy. At the same time, we should be working hand in hand with school district. They're raising the taxes, what, 12%? Over 20 million over 3 years or so? So the same money is the taxpayer of City of Patterson paying. They have the burden on both, from school district and the municipal levy. So anyway, where is the relief for the taxpayer of this city?
He's actually right about the school district. So I put in a request to our superintendent, and our law director will be a part of it. We're going to thoroughly review the budget because we do want answers. And I know, Council President, you've raised that issue in the past. So like I stated before, we've already made that request.
All right.
Council President, I think I was right about the CARES Act money as well. It was
beg to differ on that
this
one.
administration
Yeah.
spent on the things for the City of Patterson.
It's,
So you should be
restricted.
part of the budget too.
So-
It's a blessing. Financial, like Council President said, this COVID was a blessing for some of the cities out there.
I wouldn't
City
call
of
COVID a
Patterson.
blessing at
Financial.
all.
Financially,
Financial. I didn't say
financially.
blessing. I said
wouldn't-
I said
financial.
I would be careful with
financially
that term.
blessing.
Financial.
Okay,
Financial.
financially,
careful.
don't quote me wrong.
Very careful.
Financial blessing.
Council
Not
President.
necessarily.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Once you gotta let everybody talk. Once one talk, everyone needs to have the opportunity. I just want to say, you know, I gotta address Al sitting next to me. Because you know what, about 5 or 6 years ago, someone came in here and wanted to do a program, rebate for home residents and Pattersonians, and if they shop downtown, you got a credit, you know, that was, no, see, I don't want to see nobody move. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, so it was presented, and it's a great idea, but they wanted you to shop in the city of Patterson. If you went to certain stores, you got like a rebate towards your property tax, which is a great idea. But at that time, some of you guys were not sitting here, and it couldn't go anywhere. But what I would like to see too is that you need to put more. You need to put more employees on, especially the weekends. The problem that we're gonna have is that because they got union contracts, and even though everybody's contract has expired since 2019, but you still gotta follow the old contract. You can't change it, you can't do nothing differently, and I think now that when you start hiring people, it should be said, you gotta work weekends, you gotta work nights, you gotta work Saturdays. It gotta be said that they can't tell us what to do. I just want to say to you, we need more of that in there. We need more people on for you get my Texas. Everybody get my Texas. It was police department, fire department, whoever.
Public Works.
Community development, public works. Everybody get my Texas. But you can see that it's such a major problem, Mayor. I think that we're losing a lot of money because a lot of things is not getting done, and I think that. You know, when you see a moped pop a wheelie in front of a police car, that means they got no respect for that police officer. And it's sad because he can't chase them. You know, if he can't chase them. But I just want to say too, with some of the things that I need to see you do is to make sure we get more employees, especially on the weekend, because that's when everything's happened. More people working from the 3 to 11 shift, because that's when things happen. You'll be surprised. And there's certain things I think we need to put in place. No construction work on Sundays. You know, those are things that we need to make sure because do you know how aggravating that is? That somebody's banging, and it's Sunday, and Sunday's a day of rest. You know, certain things I find that we need to be able to put in place that we need to. Now, I know that those other agencies are here. I see them. I see them at night. You know, I see them in certain areas. There's certain areas that I know that I need more attention in, and of course my police director, my police chief knows what's needed. But those are things that needs to get in place. There's some union contracts that's up, and I want to say to my council colleagues, they ain't gonna be negotiated for the next 2 years or 3 years, because they're not on the same page yet. And there's some stuff in the contract now. Even though they won't let us sit there, I mean, I've been a union rep, they will not let council people sit there because we have to vote on it. But there are things that are in there that I think that probably need to be changed, and it's not gonna be. There's some contracts that we're gonna be able to get to, but we have to make sure that we put the certain people in place, because right now we're losing so much money of not being able to send the people out to do what they need. I mean, even with a bad fire I had with my chief, McDermott was there on 12th Avenue, caused by a vacant house. That's what caused the fire. That's what's causing something, because, and I'm surprised they're going up like that, because it's not wintertime, so they're not in there trying to get warm. They're in there doing something else, because in the wintertime, that's where they would be. But Mayor, there's things that we gotta get in place. We gotta make sure that, you know, especially the weekend stuff. And I just want to hit on the COVID. COVID has affected a lot of us. I'm not sure how many council members get as many calls as I get about, and some people say that, oh, we're getting enough money. We're never going to get enough money to cover back rent. You know, we're never going to get enough money to help these small businesses that done went under. You look at the money now, it's still not enough money. We got these agencies that are granting money have gone through that money so fast, so that that we need more money. And I'm gonna send my recommendation for the 63 million, what I see, but I just wanna share, with my council, and I can say, like, I've been following this for quite some time. Our Governor Murphy mandated that our employees get paid at least 10 days or 14 days, I'm not sure. Go to them other states. Them governors did not care less about those people who got COVID. They could care less about if you didn't have no job. They could care less if you had sick days. They could care less. At least we had a governor that put some things in place to make sure some of our employees were able to get paid, and making sure that some of that, because in some of these states, they got nothing. They got nothing. If they got sick, their family got sick, they were out on their own. And if I didn't have families all over this country, maybe I would not have known that. But I have family all over this country, and I see what certain states did. And I'm telling you, the calls are still coming in for help. Mayor, we got to make sure that you got to put some stuff in place, and you got to look at those pilot programs or tax abatements, whatever you got to look at that, because some of that stuff has not been right. So we got to do some of that stuff. I just want to share that.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I get emotional when it comes to COVID. I get emotional about it because I done lost too many people, not only in my family, but in a whole lot of families in this city that have lost their families to COVID. And I still gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it again. Donald Trump knew this was happening. They said nothing. They said nothing. So families, they could have warned us back in November and October of 2019. They did nothing. So with that being, you know, so all these people would not have been gone if they would have just done the right thing. So, but Mayor, I need you to put more people on.
And
Thank you,
Councilwoman, if I may,
Councilwoman Davila.
may I respond to Councilwoman real quick?
In a second. Councilwoman Davila.
So, I want to actually, I'm going to commend the mayor. I don't know if the city residents know that the mayor is a professor. And today's presentation was a good presentation. I was an attentive pupil.
Thank you.
But I want to keep it real. You know, when I look at what you're presenting, when I hear my colleagues and what they're saying, Mayor, do you really want to work with us? Because it does not seem that way. You do a good presentation. I mean, you really do. I've said it in the past. I've tried to sit down with you one-on-one. I don't think one-on-ones work. I think having other colleagues together would be more beneficial, because then there is no, I didn't say that or I didn't say this. And there's a lot of that. So I lost faith. I really have. And I've told you, I've expressed it to you. I come from a different angle in terms of sitting as the chair of the Personnel Committee, having conversations, presenting to you some recommendations, the committee. And you've told me yourself, I'm going to look into that. You know what? That sounds alarming. We're going to look into that. And months go by and nothing has been done. I see throughout that committee increases to certain individuals, which is okay for certain individuals to get increases, but others, no, you can't. So when Councilwoman Mims, our vice president, talks about the percentage of individuals that don't even get paid $20 an hour, okay, which I think it's less, because when you really look at it, somebody that's been here 25 years and is making $30,000, $35,000, I mean, very sad. So Mayor, I'm not sure that I'm okay with this budget. I'm really not. I'm not sure that you're fighting enough with the district, because you're correct in saying we're not going to have that increase, right? We have an MOU that indicates that we do have to have an increase, but you're saying that we're lowering a 2.3, it's lower, okay, than the last full-year budget. But we're going to have a 12% increase within the school district. So when you look at somebody like, yes, and I'm going to say it, my stepdaddy, who's going to be 90 in 2 weeks, fixed income, veteran, retired veteran, he's going to have an increase of probably over $250. So when you talk about relationships, Are you really pushing? Because I see a lot of the push for your projects at the city level, I'm sorry, at the state level with the governor, right? I see your economic development director pushing, right? I do, I see it. But at the end of the day, what's happening to our constituency? You know what, because there's a lot of people, I'm gonna tell you right now, who say they don't care about Hinchcliffe. They do not. We talk about, oh, well, senior housing. Well, absolutely, believe it or not, that was something that Councilman Kalik and I, along with others, discussed in a meeting that was put forth. One initiative out of the so many in the last 3 years. So, Mayor, you're looking for support. You came today. You did a good presentation. I mean, anybody that's looking at this that doesn't know the behind the scenes will say this is great. This is perfect. I'm not sure I'm convinced, and I say that respectfully. I'm not speaking, but I will say this, Mayor. You were a council member, and you didn't like when you were speaking to be disrespected. And you came in here looking for support, but you have taken jabs at 4 members here. And that in itself says a lot. That's why I said, do you really want to work with us? Because when you rub in somebody's face that they got there late, Councilman Kalik, do your homework. That's not really saying, I want to work. Sometimes we got to put those little petty things aside and say, meet me in the middle, meet me in the middle. And I don't see that. So that's where I don't see that you're genuine. And I've spoken this to you alone, face to face, and I'm saying it out publicly. I'm going to go back to saying there's a lot more that I wish I could discuss. And Council President, I know that we're talking about the budget and the mayor's presentation, but I will say I really want us to really, really look into doing the committee of the whole, because that's within our jurisdiction to be able to ask those questions that are so important, and we are able to rice employees. So there's more to say. I'm just going to leave it at that. I am in agreement with a lot that has been said here today, and I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Council President.
Council President.
So I'm going to let you wrap it up, the meeting,
Yeah.
Mayor. Councilman Jackson, please brief, because just let you know, we have a meeting, we have the public portion that usually starts at 8, and we also have a special meeting that's supposed to start at 8:30. So we cannot, prolong the discussion, because it's going to affect what we have scheduled for the agenda. Councilman Jackson, then you could.
Extremely brief as possible.
Sure.
Very quickly, Mr. Mayor, relative to the data for violent crimes, do you have the information of what population is mostly involved in these violent crimes?
What we have is we have a breakdown in areas where it's occurring. So we can share that with you as far as.
So no data with regard to the population that's being impacted most, involved most, age demographic?
Yeah, we do have that. We can share that with you.
Okay.
We have
So-
that. And also what we're doing is we're basing where we have our extra patrol initiative in those areas where we've seen a rise. So if you see, as far as the EPI, we call the EPI, that's where you'll see the patrols.
So
And
as
we can share all that data with
Mr.
you.
Mayor, it's my time. If
Yeah,
you give me a
but we
moment,
can share that
please.
with you.
Because as Councilwoman Davila talked about, the level of disrespect is on a whole nother level. But I have to give you credit. I give you a tremendous amount of credit. You have managed to do what I've never seen done here. The facetious, disrespectful attitude that resonates from the mayor at this point to the council. And I've been telling this council from day one, because I, along with you guys, was willing to support all the initiatives. In fact, I got called out by a reporter. He basically called me out to say I was complicit with the administration, that I was coerced by the former BA. And, I have to really acknowledge that there may be some actual truth to that. Because in the past, Mr. Mayor, you gave speeches and you talked about how you were going to be the cheerleader in chief. And you was going to hire a BA who was competent to run the city while you went around and just cheerlead, which you're doing. We hired a data officer, but yet we don't have the data. What you focuses on the most impacted communities, because if we did, we would have done something for this. But with that being said, as this council, we chose to confirm, because we all wanted to support this mayor. We chose to confirm without reviewing resumes of some of the cabinet members, of which the BA has never been a BA before. She's never held this position. She's never done this work in this capacity. Okay. And,
President.
but we confirmed these employees without having that information. We watched the mayor get rid of Marge Sharon, which was one of the best financial minds in the city. We watched the Chief Oswald, which was one of the best police officers, and they're no longer here, but I mean, they'll one of the best chiefs in the state of New Jersey, in fact, in the country. And we watched him get rid of this person while we're seeing this uptick in violence with no credible answer. We don't have reports on gun violence. We don't have reports on the fires. We have fires. The fire trucks are running rampant, as the fire chief can talk about. But yet and still, we don't have the building department doing inspections to find out the bottom line of where these fires are generating from, so we can do the data. How are these fires starting? Everyone is in danger. You can be an innocent person walking on West Broadway, as we just saw over the weekend, as this young person walked in to get something to eat, and he lost his life. The drugs is out of control. So when we talk about the most impacted population, what youth programming has been started under this administration? Absolutely nothing. We spent $160 million in tax credits that returned absolutely not one dime of residual tax income. The $160 million in tax credits only created
Councilman.
So,
less than 100
Council
jobs.
President, let me.
We have, listen, Councilman.
I'm almost done, Council President.
We're discussing
I'm
the
almost
budget
done.
right now, so.
Council
Okay.
President, he said he was
So-
going to be extremely brief.
I'm aware of that,
And he's
Mayor.
going to continue to be
So,
extremely disrespectful.
So-
Council
But yet,
President.
the other day, as I'm walking down the stairs, he paused in fright,
Councilman.
not to even walk past me,
Listen.
because the mayor, our mayor,
Actually
is not
acknowledged
the
you.
fighter
That's
that
a
we
mischaracterization.
acknowledged him to be.
Councilman.
Council President,
Council
now
President,
he's veering off
let me
course
finish,
completely.
please.
I am, but in
At
the
the moment, I
interest.
haven't even
So,
been 2 minutes.
Council President,
I know, but
I just wanna
before
speak
gave
to the
hold on,
topic.
before I acknowledge you and give you the floor, I told you that we have,
Less than-
other
less than-
matters that we
less
need to
than 30
discuss?
seconds, Council President.
Thank you,
Less
sir.
than 30
Thank you.
seconds. So I won't even continue to delve into the COVID money we wasted, the first $87 million that we didn't get our fair share of, the $64 million, and the $31 million that Councilwoman Mims talked about. But on a Facebook post, the owner of Gelati's chimed in and said, listen, I was interested in buying that site. I reached out to the mayor. I talked to the mayor personally. I reached out to the BA. I'm not sure if the economic development director was included in that. But we talk about putting together plans and talking about creating residual income. These are the types of things that are being ignored, and yet we have such an influx of violence, and the mayor just so callously comes forward as if it's just numbers, as we're not talking about lives. We're not talking about creating outlets and opportunities for young people. I'll rest it there, Council
thank you,
President.
Councilman.
This
Mayor?
is-
I want to
this
reiterate
goes on deaf
that this
ears.
budget reflects a 25% increase in recreation, which is an investment in our youth and programming. And over the course of the last 3 years, we've
We've
increased
been
the
here 3.5
recreation. I'm
years.
sorry, I'll let you
Councilman,
finish, sir. You said you were going to be
What
extremely
youth
brief.
program have you
So
created?
60%
Councilman.
increase
What
over
youth
the course of the
program have you
last 3
created?
years with recreation. I also want to address some items that Councilwoman Cotton raised relative to inspectors. So we're hiring one night and weekend housing inspector for each ward. And then with the community improvements inspectors, we're going to have one in each ward. So we'll have 12 inspectors out in the field. So that's reflected in that budget. So, Council President, again, I want to reiterate, this is a dialogue that is ongoing. Tonight, I'm introducing the budget. The invitation stands for everyone. If you want to meet in a group setting, by all means, I'm welcome to do so.
Thank you,
At the very least, let's continue this dialogue.
On that note, Mayor, I also extend our invitation for you to also come to us. We don't have, I don't feel that we need to go to your office, Mayor.
I will go to you.
The council chambers
I don't
is
think I can
open
go
to
to
you.
your office, but we can meet at a neutral site.
But you can always reach out to the council. We want to see you here more often. I think you did state that one time that, you criticized some other mayors for not showing up. I think we want to see you here. You need to come to us. We're the legislative body, and you know that. You were sitting here. A lot of times you feel like you don't need us, but then when there's time that you need us, then you want to include us in a lot of things. We want to be included 100% all the time, not just when you need us. And this is the problem that I'm having, Mayor. So for the last time, please, for the benefit of the residents, try your best to work with us. You're not reaching out to us. You're telling us if we need to speak to you to come to your office? No. When you need us, come to the chambers and sell it to us.
Or we can meet at another site. In a group
I
setting, if
think,
you like.
yeah, all right. So I guess this is not gonna improve.
With the police escort.
Let's just,
Yes, Mr. President.
yeah, this is not good. I just feel bad for the residents. This is not gonna work. Madam Clerk, could we proceed with the meeting? Could we open the public portion?
Sure, Mr. President. At this time, the public portion is now open for the workshop session. We have 6 speakers, Mr. President and honorable council members. Our first speaker is Ashley Biggs. Please state your name and address for the record. Ashley Biggs. That person here? May I move on to the next person, Mr. President? In the
Council
meantime?
President, next.
Sure, next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Mr. Ernest Rucker.
Maybe they're outside.
Ernest Rucker? Is that what she said?
He went downstairs for a minute.
Next speaker, please.
Tatiana Portugal.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing?
Good,
Right.
thank
Are
you.
you good?
Welcome.
Doing well.
Are you okay? Is everybody okay? Okay, good, because that was a show. I have anxiety just from watching that. And that goes to say that everybody in the city has anxiety from what goes on in the city, including our leaders, which are you guys. It's not him, it's not only you, and it's not them, and it's all of you. And to be able to lead is to lead knowing that you don't know it all. The jabs were not just from you. They jabbed at you too. I need to just say that because it was all going around. There was no need to say that. It's toxic behavior. We are all a relationship. It's an organization. It starts from the culture at the top, and then it trickles down. If this is the culture, that's why Patterson is suffering. Do you understand that? You are the reason that it's toxic everywhere. There's no reason for you guys to be shooting at each other with words and then say that outside, when people actually shoot with bullets, that it's not fair. Because it's not fair for you guys to be doing it to each other either. Because it reflects on us. The fact that everything needed to be said here means that, yeah, you guys don't meet up separately on your own time at all. And that is so sad. I mean, I don't even understand what's the point. I don't understand what's the point. This is clearly outdated. For you to even end that conversation with like, great, well, now this, like, that just left everybody like, well, shit, now I don't even have hope. Like, everybody goes home, now has to live with this anxiety of like, oh my God, where's Patterson going? Like, it's everything to them. Like, when you feel out of control, so many things arise from that. Stress, health issues. I mean, asking questions is so important. So I want to ask you, and I wish I could ask down the line, but what, just like in the top of your head, what is the 5 important things to you about this city? Just to issues.
So, public safety.
Just like literally.
Mayor,
Yeah.
He knows.
Mayor.
He knows.
You could address those questions after she
Would
finishes.
you like
She
me
has,
to?
Literally. No.
Councilman,
Want me to start
If you
so I
won't
can
let
give an
me,
example?
I'll talk to you.
No, I'm cool.
you could
with
address it after. Mayor, you were here for many years. You don't do this. Please. I'm sorry. You could continue.
Okay, what
We don't
happened?
have dialogue. We don't have dialogue. That's not how we do it.
So outdated. Okay. That's kind of sad because now it's like I don't want to take jabs at you because I have I want to understand. Do you know what I mean? It's like I want to sit here and be like, is cleaning even his first, one of on the top 5? When I could dead ass just find out right now. And I can leave here feeling relieved that, okay, at least he just named it on his top 5. It's those little things that you need to care about in the people of Patterson. It's like, are they happy? Why are they not happy? What's the first thing you do if you're about to clean your room? Answer, if you don't mind, please, one question. Please, what's the first thing you do when you're about to clean your room? Anybody?
Could you
Okay,
finish?
you open up a window. No, sir, it's important. What's the first thing you do when you're about to clean your room?
Get the tools. Behave.
You pick up what's on the floor. You pick up what's on the floor. The first matter of issue, why are you putting projects like the stadium, when there's literally trash everywhere? I don't understand how $400 million can go towards fixing something when there's other many things to be fixed. You put up there's a fence, I say Patterson, really, it's not just a particular person, put up a fence at Barbour's Park, but then left everything inside to just be, left for the people to fix? No, that's not how it works. I don't understand, I don't get this. It doesn't make any sense. My point is, you guys need to understand that you don't know everything and you guys don't know everything. You ask questions before just stating your opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm going to go back to the first speaker. I don't know if that person, Ashley Biggs, is that person here? Okay. I see Mr.
She's
Rucker.
there, she's there.
Mr. Rucker? Mr.
Ashley's
Biggs is
here.
Oh. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. Ms.
Hi,
Biggs.
my name is Ashley Biggs. I'm the Chief of Staff for Patterson Habitat for Humanity. I just signed in case there were questions during the portion where our application was being reviewed for home funds, so I might not have signed in the right place, so my apologies.
That's good. She good.
Next speaker, Mr. Rucker.
All right.
State your name and address.
Ernest Rucker, good evening. Patterson. As you know, I give no other address. I just listened to the last young lady talk. And it's nice to see, not really nice, but it's interesting to see other people have the same concerns I've had for years. We're talking about a lot of things here today, but this town is in trouble. We are at the brink of not even being a town anymore, just a ghetto. Mayor, I know all the stuff that you're building, and I appreciate that. But let me say this. I said it 2 weeks ago. Until we start investing in the people of Patterson, until we start showing the people that work here that we're really concerned about their well-being. And I think somebody asked a question about the police department's starting rate. It's 30-some-thousand, under 35,000 per year. Board of Public Works workers work there 20, 25 years, make $16 an hour. We're not investing back in our own city, but we want a lot for it. The thing that I'm looking for today from this council and from the administration, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I take pot shots all the time. That's my game. But as elected officials, we got to get something done. The pot shot business is over for us. We got shootings every day. And everybody wants to know how we stop the shootings. Everybody in the community knows it, except everybody else here. Take the drug money from the drug dealers, you stop the shootings. It's all about money. And I am tired, year after year after year. I think one of those seats belongs to me. I'm here so much. And we're talking about the same identical thing. No council can make it by themselves, and no mayor can make it by themselves. That's why we came up with Faulkner. Luckily, I was one of those young kids that helped work on Faulkner. And that's how we have this change of government. The youth of the city helped do this. But you have an important job to do, and that's to serve us. And it's too many times I believe that you think that we're supposed to serve you guys. Council and administration, it is not that way. If we don't invest in building, we can build all the brick and mortar in the world. But if people can't afford them, and we talked about affordable housing. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with you today, Mayor, about affordable housing. We need affordable housing. Senior citizens is not affordable. It's for seniors. And with that category, that's how you get in it. But how about the lady, the man on the streets looking for a 3-bedroom and they want $2,200? If we're going to invest in people, let's start from the bottom up. And the lady was correct. All of this, throwing bricks and rocks, see, it's okay for, I'll be fisherman, for the community to do it, because that's our job, to throw those rocks, to get those answers. Your job is to make sure the administration is doing what it's supposed to do, and you handle the budget. Right now what is happening, and the reason we're so dysfunctional, we're not working together. Everybody's throwing bricks and rocks, and nothing's getting done. And last but not least, I got a call today from a young lady who's been looking for a 3-bedroom for 3 months. And the lowest price she found was $2,100. And you're telling me we don't need to build more affordable housing? You're telling me that we do not need to raise the pay scale of Department of Public Works and other secretaries that work here for $30,000 a year? And if we can't do those simple things, You're talking about $63 million. It shouldn't be just y'all giving recommendations about how that money is spent. It should be a community group also involved, or members from the community involved in saying where that money goes. We spent too much money, and right now, if we don't give some relief to the people of the city of Patterson, you're going to have a worse problem than you've ever had before in your lives. Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Next speaker is Mr. Carr, Harold Carr. Please state your name, your address for the record. Thank you.
Harold Carr, 216 East 30th Street. Thank you, Mr. President, and the council for the privilege of speaking this evening. Mr. Mayor, good to see you, sir. I listened to the previous conversation regarding the budget, and I just want to, before I get into what I really am here to say, just reflect a little bit on the budget. And as you know, sir, the police department and the fire department are the two most significant drivers of the budget. And from the discussion I heard, we would like to add more police officers to the numbers that we have. Now, I need to ask you, have we ever done any kind of assessment of when do we get to the point of diminishing return regarding the police force? Is it a matter of more bodies, or is it a matter of improving the technology that will help to make the police force becomes more efficient? I recall once I had to call you. I was on Reland Avenue, somebody hit my daughter's car, she called me and I was there for almost an hour before a police cruiser arrived. So I think it's about reorganizing, looking at what we have and deciding the best way of improving what we have. And I think it's not just adding more bodies at this time. I'm very pleased to know that tonight the resolution designating Vreeland Avenue is on. This is 2 years in coming. And I was told not too long ago that the reason why it took 2 years is that we had heroes, Jamaica Heroes Way in the name. That to me just blew my mind. We never got a response from the council. Now, if that was an issue, I believe the council, the committee should have looked at it and said, oh guys, we can't have this. But for 2 years, we never got a response. So it just could not be.
That's not true.
Now, let me just add quickly. Desmond Tutu says, and I quote, "My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be humans together." I would just like to take, while you consider this resolution tonight, just to take it one step further. And this is what I would like to add. The success of Patterson is bound up in the acceptance of our diversity and our shared vision of our collective strength as a city. We will not go anywhere until we accept each other and recognize that we are important to each other. I was there last time and somebody, said they should vote the resolution down. But Jamaicans have been an integral part of this community, like any other group, and we give respect for that. Therefore, I'm asking the council, as we celebrate the Caribbean American Heritage Month, and I look at the council and there are a lot of Caribbean American heritage there, we ask you to honor our asking tonight by passing this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, Mr. President. Next speaker is Mr. Watson. Keith Watson. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Keith Watson, 341 East 31st Street, Patterson, New Jersey. Tonight, I must say I apologize to the council and to Villas for my piggish mentality I exposed at a psychological moment we were dealing with the city business. Apology accepted. The reason for that was I asked a direct question. I was looking for a direct answer. Okay, and good to see the mayor here today. What I'm really here for is not for a permit for the park. I know I can do that. I'm here because I'm trying to expose the deeds of Bill McCoy when he was a sitting council person. Okay? All of the city officials right here are the servant of the people. You are the people's politician. You should be, your track record should show that you are serving the people, not victimizing, not trying to take advantage of anybody. And I believe that Bill McCoy had took advantage of me. And I've contributed more to this city more than Bill McCoy. I own 4 businesses, 4 houses, 9 kids, and send them to this public school. Even whenever all my friends were saying private school, I made sure to send them to this public school. Most of them came out, have their degrees and go have good jobs. So what I've contributed to this city, I believe that actually Bill McCoy is a person that should even walk my hand to this podium and give me many awards, and he never did. For 2 o'clock in the morning when I used to get up and canvass the whole city with his posters on the street and trying to make him keep in the city. And because he saw that people was galvanized and exuberant about one event and I wouldn't give it to him, he then become this insidious monster and took the event. And the mayor's right here. The mayor, he was a council person. The mayor and Tavares had to come behind there just to give me, to approve my permit because he was being an impediment. They called Cookie at Recreation. Cookie said, Keith, I can't process because we have a concern. At that time, Horatio was here. That's wrong. They called Manny at DPW. Manny had to say, Keith, I can't give you the permit unless you pay the police in full. I'm like, why I'm going through all of this? The permit doesn't state that. Okay? The mayor had to help me at that time when he was just to get a permit. Alex Mendez was here. Jackson was here. They saw me come to this podium with tears in my eyes. He was the only one pushing back at me just to have the event. And you guys allow it, and the reason why I'm here, because another councilman might just come up and say, guess what? I see the event and I like it, I'm just going to take it. Rocker, if he was here, when I spoke to him in front of the mayor's office, I said, do you think it's right? Ernie told me, oh, if he could do better with it, he'd take it. I said, Ernie, you can't say that, because that's going to get me upset. I'm going to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? So the mayor had to call me to come to just the ribbon cutting, and I give him credit for that, and I thank God for Alex Mendez and Jackson, who actually, who made the Jamaica Day thing start flying, and, I'm proud of that, Erica put, his foot in there, and my last remark, to Madam Clerk, I don't think that actually last week it was acceptable when you said that you didn't have the time to correlate, because actually it shows the lack of efficiency and incompetence, okay? I'm just telling you that now, because next time you get somebody, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, there's no other speaker on the public portion.
Motion to close.
To close.
Council President.
So, council members, I'm going to give the opportunity to the mayor to answer the question by, was it Tatiana?
Miss Portugal.
Yes. The question is, you recall, you wrote it down, right, Mayor?
I actually recall.
Yeah,
yes.
and then we're going to vote. You have 2 minutes during your vote to address the concerns of the public. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you for posing that question, and I'm hoping that we can reduce your level of anxiety, and I want to let you know that it has been a stressful time for many people dealing with what we have to deal with, the virus and the violence. So I'll start with public safety. That is a priority of my administration, and I've outlined what we are doing and what we intend to do. Cleanliness is very important as well. In fact, we've created teams to go out and clean, and these are volunteers. If you like to volunteer, by all means, we would, okay, you don't want to volunteer, but that's fine, if you know. The third priority for me is development, economic development, which is very important because I feel like there's been so much potential in this city, and I think now we're realizing what we have as far as assets are concerned. For something I've talked about, and it's been a shared priority with the council, investing in our fields and parks to make sure that our youth have first-class facilities to play on. And then 5, I talked about recreation, which goes hand in hand with the first-class facilities and parks, and that is reflected in how much we're increasing that budget with recreation. So thank you.
Thank you. So,
You and I can talk.
Yes, thank you. Madam Clerk,
Yes, Mr. President.
roll call to close the public
Mr.
portion.
President, we had a motion, I didn't get the motion in a second.
I moved it.
Errol.
Councilman Davila?
And it was second, moved by Councilman Davila, second by Councilman Mims.
Mims.
Roll call to close the public portion.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call to close the public portion, Councilman Abdulaziz?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just to reiterate what Errol Carr stated about Jamaica Way, I don't know what happened 2 years ago, but as a street naming chair, I'm glad that we were able to get this out. To my council colleagues, that we'll have more discussion on this. It was adjusted, the name was adjusted, the location was adjusted, and I'm glad within a month, the committee has gotten out to a workshop to celebrate the accomplishments of the Jamaican people. And it was brought to me a month ago, and now it's out of committee to the workshop within a month. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cotton?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm just, I would just like to say that the city is filthy. It's like, I look at people, how they come out their house and it's filth all around. I just can't understand it. So that's why I know that we really need more of those inspectors. I rely on community improvement to send out inspectors to do what they need to do, but as you know, they stop at 4:30. Stuff starts getting done at 6 o'clock at night. They start working on different things that they shouldn't be doing it. So, Mayor, that's a major problem that we have here in the city. I'm not sure why it is. Like I said earlier, the mopeds and the motorbikes and the motorcycles are really putting a strain on us. It's just, I say when my light turned green, I wait 30 seconds because somebody's running the red light. Somebody's turning on red and they shouldn't be. You got a green light. So it's just so many issues that are happening that needs to be addressed for this. I'm also, happy that Mr. Earl Carr has the Jamaica Way. I really didn't know that it was Jamaica Heroes before, so at least that's getting done. But I still say that, and I'm gonna say it again, I get a lot of calls about the pandemic. I get a lot of calls about the COVID. I get a lot of calls about my business is going under. I get a lot of calls about people not being able to pay rent. I get a lot of calls from landlords who are suffering because they can't fix their house because they can't collect no rent. I get a lot of calls. So a lot of things are still affecting our city. It's affecting all of us. And I think that, with the shootings and, I don't know, they said one time, and I'm not quite sure if I can put it on that, but they said that when they release some people early from prison or jail, I'm not sure that they're coming back to do. I'm not sure because I don't know.
Councilwoman.
But I just want to say that there's many issues and we all need to get together and help each other. And I'm saying your organization, my organization, their organization, if we don't come together, we're never going to get anything done. With that being said, Madam Clerk, because my council president is calling Ruby, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Davila?
So, to the young lady that spoke, I don't want to, she's not in here, but, just to address her, you come to the council, and this is the second time I see her in a meeting, and clearly, for someone that is not aware of the practices and procedures, doesn't really understand that you can't have a back and forth conversation with the administration or with the council. Secondly, and I stand with what I said previously, that many of the constituency doesn't know the honest truth of what goes on a daily basis. So what you see here, granted, does look somewhat, and I hate to say it this way, but like a dysfunctional family. But there's a lot of reasons of why every person up here is passionate, okay, and comes at the administration because we're not being heard. So for that young lady to come here and feel that, you know, she's anxious and she wanted to have questions answered, I say that we need to also understand when you come in here, there has to be what's the procedure, what's the practices. I somewhat take offense to Earl Carr to come here and make it seem like this council is not supportive of the Jamaican community. That's wrong. He's come in various occasions to come here and basically say that he was not being heard. That is not true. That is a lie, and it bothers me. I was the council president. I addressed him clearly, and I said that the third ward councilman was also in conversation with the fourth woman councilwoman. Why? Because it was her ward. Thirdly, the name was discussed, and no, we have said, and that's been part of our ordinance, you name it after community, not names of individuals, and that's something that we may look at to have and make some changes. But guess what? When it was presented, that's not what happened. So let's stop the lies. We support the Jamaican community, and we look forward to supporting this measure. And correct, the place was changed, and the name was what it should be, just like all the others. Naming those wonderful Jamaican individuals as a whole, as a body. So with that said, I'm sorry that I had to say that, but it really, truly bothers me to see someone come here and make it seem that we're not about diversity and supporting one another. So with that said, Madam Clerk, thank you, Council President. My vote is yes.
Thank you,
to close
Councilwoman.
the public
Councilman,
portion.
Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome, sir.
Before I begin, let me say this. The gentleman, Keith, I was moving right along with, in agreement with everything he said, he talked about, until he got to the portion where he mentioned you, Madam Clerk. I want to make sure that, you know, I know you don't need this, and I know you don't look for this, but it's definitely our place as a council, as you are the gatekeeper for us as a council, and you do a phenomenal job. I have no idea what he's referencing when he's talking about you not doing or making effort to do the best possible situation or job for the community. That was completely wrong. Again, the other part of his argument, I'm not totally aware of everything, but I'm in agreement. But Madam Clerk, you're a star, and so are the people in your office. So I appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you.
Secondly, to the young lady, you know, it's unfortunate because it's like anything else. If you have a team that's losing, you can watch it in the NFL, you can watch it in the NBA, you can watch it in soccer or whatever team sports that there are. When there's a team that's losing, there's always some type of discourse amongst the team. You're never going to have team members coming to the bench laughing and having a great time, giving high fives, when you're losing and getting blown out by 40 points. We are getting blown out, and we're moving into the final quarter, and we're losing immensely. So, of course, there's going to be some discourse amongst council members, with the administration. The fact of the matter is, what she needs to understand, and I'm hoping she'll eventually see this, is that as a council person, you often feel powerless, because you're taking calls from representatives or members of the community, and it's with regard of life-threatening situations, whether it's public safety, whether it's cleanliness of the streets and garbage and rats and things of that nature. You're taking on these calls, and we have to rely on the administration to do their best to render the services that's just not getting rendered. So it's very frustrating being on this side. It's very frustrating bringing forward legislation that never gets enforced, that always gets ignored. But with that being said, Madam Clerk, I heard the buzzer, and again, my hat goes off to you and the job that you guys do, and my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Khalid?
We have a long agenda tonight, council members. My vote is yes to close the public portion.
Sure. Thank you, Councilman Mendez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to use my 2 minutes to address some of the speakers. And I would like to start with Tatiana, the first speaker. I hear, and her passion and her level of frustration. I feel the same way. Last Sunday was the Dominican Mother's Day celebration. And I went to this mother's house, and I saw her crying her son that was killed Saturday night. He went out to buy some food. And it's definitely devastating. When we talk about priority, we should be talking about what can we do and what we're planning to do to stop the violence that they're killing in our community. We have our youth, our black and brown boys, they die in our community. So what are we doing? In the beginning of my comment, during the mayor presentation, I mentioned National Guard, I mentioned the state. I'm sending letters to the administration. Listen, reach out, sit down with the sheriff department, with the state. But you know what? We lost control of the city. We just lost it. They're shooting every day in a broad daylight. So you could get killed in the city of Patterson. This is a legitimate concern. So priority is what do we do, what is the plan for us to stop the violence and the killing? What is the plan to take our drug addict and homeless off the street? Those are the plan. What is the plan to make sure that we serve our community in a better capacity? That's the conversation that I was expecting to have with the administration because the community is definitely hurt. We're not getting the service that we deserve as a taxpayer, and the crime is taking so many lives in the city, and it's definitely devastating. It was, when it comes to the street naming in Jamaican way, I would like to thank, the street naming committee and also Corporation Council. Myself, along with Michael Jackson, we're sponsoring this, Councilman Jackson, that resolution, and we definitely have to acknowledge the great contribution of the Jamaican community in this city. And I definitely look forward to make sure that we only don't have a street naming of the Jamaican way. I want to make sure that all the business owners, all the Jamaican business owners come together and make that area the best area in the third ward. And as your councilman in the third ward, it will be an honor for me to support that and work with the community. So with that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Mims?
So let me start with this. Last week, Madam Clerk, you were disrespected, and they tried it again today. It is totally unacceptable with all the great work that you do, and then at the end to be stated that your department is inefficient. I find it to be totally unacceptable and inaccurate. You have been one of the most fairest, kindest, and hardest working people that I know. So I want to commend you for that. Maybe I'll get an extra 30 seconds, Madam Clerk. So I just want to put that on record. I agree with some of the statements that have been made. I will definitely be reaching out to the young lady because I think sometimes when we're addressing things that it appears that we have concerns or we have issues or it's personal. It's not. This is the first time the mayor has been present in the meeting in a very long time. So when you're able to have the mayor in person, you have to express it so the community can hear at large everything they've been expressing to us privately, that we as your elected officials, that we have heard your complaints, we've heard your concerns, and we're giving it to the administration. And I'm sure Madam BA appreciated it on tonight because she didn't have to take the weight, right, Madam BA? The mayor was able to take it for himself. And then to Commissioner Kerr, who I used to work with, I'm not sure, you mentioned two different pieces where it was stated, so that's whatever was stated on both of those occurrences, rumor, gossip, whatever. I'm not privy to it. I was not a part of the committee. I don't really know what happened in the past, but the blessing is it's here now. So at whatever point to let bygones be bygones, let it go and move forward, because a lot of times when we're rehashing things that happened in the past, you're causing wedges, maybe not even intentionally causing wedges that really don't need to be caused, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone here on the council would say, let's not support an item for any ethnicity. We've supported, we've been there, and so, and it may not have been your intention, but sometimes that's the delivery. To Mr. Rucker, who's not here. He was beating that economic investment in people, and I do believe it. I watched the show last night on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what happened with that massacre. And it's very disheartening when you see what was stolen from our community and to see what's not being invested once again in the city of Patterson. It also goes back to that same egregious nature and the disheartening attitude that's happening. And so for me, as a resident, a single mom, and an African-American elected official, I am not going to be silent with those things that concern any community and anybody that's suffering in the city. Until we start investing in the people, we're going to always have chaos and deprivation. With that stated, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Velez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to be brief. New York City today announced it, millions of dollars of rental assistance for those individuals that suffer through any kind of hardship through COVID-19. And I think if this administration does the same thing, making sure that that funding that came in is invested in the community, a lot of people could move forward in our city and not move to the down south or Florida or whatever. Life is better out there. Just think on that, how to invest in the city. To Mr. Watson, I believe his name is, yeah, if he's still here, I don't know. I accept apologies, I accept it, but then you come and iterate again and again and again of something that is not happening in this side of the bench, of the fence. One thing is I got to say, Mr. Watson, that you cannot throw rocks on a glass house. If you have a glass house, you have to make sure you got everything in order before you come here to the chamber and start slamming anybody that was here or is here, because it could go back to you. And besides that, we all support anything that comes from any type of any community in the city of Patterson. Jamaican means a lot for me because I have a big community of Jamaicans in the 5th Ward. And Mr. Urquhart and those Jamaican out there community, that I have a good relation with them. Especially when I know that we share the same Tainos from Puerto Rico. Right, Councilwoman Adables out there, she knows that. Our secretary, our clerk office, they work with passion and compassion. So, and I know they doing a great job always. And we got to stand behind them, always. Saying that, I just want to welcome Jennifer Cejas. Jennifer Cejas is a new secretary that we have in our office. Council colleagues, and you have the opportunity. She's working in our office. She started today. A good candidate, and she's going to do a job for all of us. That's a good thing. So her name is Jennifer Cejas. Welcome to the city of Patterson, especially to the municipal council office. And we try to not use the toxic behavior. So saying that, Council President, thank you. My vote is yes.
Your vote, Councilman?
Oh, I did that.
We're closing the public portion.
Oh, we do? Oh, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Mr. President?
I'll try to be very brief. I just want to address Tatiana and Rutgers, right? So, listen, I've been part of many boards. I've been part of administrations at different levels. What we're trying to do here is we can't take this anymore. Just like the residents are frustrated, we're frustrated as council members. You have an administration, and when I say administration, let me be clear. It's not just the mayor. I'm talking about he picked his team, right? You have a team that is hard to work with. Never said this publicly, but I'm already up to my neck, right? They always try to circumvent the authority of the council, always. I could give you many instances where they have tried to push resolutions and ordinances where it basically takes the power away from the council, right? We're to the point right now that out there we all get blamed. People don't care whose responsibility is cleaning the streets, whose responsibility is to basically monitor or put a plan together to address the public safety issues. All we're trying to do, what you see here is an outcry. We're trying to work with the administration, but we don't see the same. They only come to us when they need us. And it's just frustrating working this way. Councilman Mims, we were in the Board of Ed. I challenge you anytime. Errol, you were in the Board of Ed with us. Sometimes we had to provide some input, but you didn't see this nonsense. You didn't see this behavior from some of us. I'm not justifying what's taking place here, but if we cannot meet with the administration and talk about anything, a lot of those discussions take place here. It shouldn't be like this. We should be meeting with them. But as you heard the mayor, you could always come to my office. Really, Mayor? You're welcome to come to the committee meetings and speak to us. You're welcome to come to finance. You're welcome to come to economic development. This is not going to improve. I want the public to see this. This is basically, we're actually asking the mayor to come and work with us. Now the state, he has access directly to the state. What they've been telling the state this whole time is that the council is dysfunctional. When the mayor took office, I had a conversation with him and I spoke to my colleagues. He had a special situation here, and I'm going to take maybe 20 more seconds. The mayor had 8 out of the 9 council members that were willing to work with him, but he decided to start fighting with all those council members. You're one of them, Councilman Khalid. I met with you. Councilman Mims, we talked about this all the time. So if you want if you have the best interests of the city at heart, lift the politics aside. This is frustrating. I didn't sign up for $40,000. I'm a professional. I don't need to be here as a councilman. But sometimes I say, if I were not here, things will be worse. Last thing. I asked the administration to hire a company to do an assessment of all our roads. That way, when we put a capital plan together, we're able to strategize and fix the roads. We've been doing parks and so on. We haven't put any road improvements in the capital plan. All we're depending on is DOT money from the state, which is not enough. And I just hope that some of this council remember when we had to borrow $36 million because the roads got so bad, it was unbearable to drive in Patterson. Someone in an elevator told me that the police somewhere else, if you're swerving, they'll stop you in another town. Here, if you're not swerving, you'll get stopped in Patterson. And I'm proof of that. I had my front and back tire blew up in one of the holes about 6 months ago. Madam Clerk, we could speak about all the things that are going on, but I just want the public to know that I don't have any hidden agendas. I want to work with the administration, but I gotta receive the same from that end. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. The vote is 9 in favor and none against. The public portion for the workshop session is now closed. Mr. President, may I entertain a motion to temporarily close the workshop session until after the special meeting?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
To temporarily close?
Move
To temporary close so we can go
The
into
workshop,
special
so
meeting.
we can go
moved
to
by Councilman Mims.
the second.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Mendez.
Yeah.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call to temporarily close the workshop session until after the special meeting. Councilwoman Khan?
There's a lot of items on here for the special meeting. It's a lot. A lot. My vote is no. I ain't closing it. Go ahead.
Councilman Khalid?
That's all.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
The vote is 4 in favor, 1 against, 4 absent. The workshop session is temporarily closed until after the special meeting.
So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Patterson Municipal Council, I welcome you to the special meeting of the Municipal Council. The meeting is now called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call for Municipal Council special meeting June 1st, 2021 at 8:30 p.m. Councilman Abdelaziz. Councilwoman Khan.
Nope.
Councilman Davila. Councilman Jackson. Councilman Khalid.
I'm here, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mendez.
Present.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Velez. Mr. President.
Yes.
May I continue, Mr.
Madam Clerk, will you read the statement of compliance?
Yes, yes, sir. I'll read the statement of compliance, and I have to read the entire special meeting agenda, so please bear with me, everyone. A meeting covered by 48-hour notice. Notice of the time, date, and location of this agenda meeting was transmitted to the North Jersey Herald News, The Record, The Arabic Voice, Italian Voice, Passaic County Pulse, Dominicana News, Crusader International, El Especial, the Patterson Press, the City Post News, and Tap into Patterson, in addition to any other publication duly requesting such notices. At or about 11 a.m. on May 28, 2021, such notices were posted on the bulletin board in the offices of the city clerk at City Hall. And special meeting notice. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that the Municipal Council of the City of Patterson has scheduled a special meeting for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 8:30 p.m. to be held in the council chambers, 155 Market Street, 3rd floor, City Hall, Patterson, New Jersey, for the purpose of discussing the following matters. Public portion. Resolution number 1. Resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Josito Jesus versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21274. Formal action will be taken. Item number 2, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of Nelson Parisi versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21275. Formal action will be taken. Item number 3, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of Javier Tovar versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21276. Formal action will be taken. Item number 4, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of James DeMaria versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21277. Formal action will be taken. Item number 5, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss settlement and release between the City of Patterson, the Parking Authority, and NRVP LLC, Law Resolution 21278. Formal action will be taken. Executive sessions. For item number 1, executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of Josito Jesus versus City of Patterson. No formal action will be taken. Executive session for item number 2, executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, discuss pending workers' compensation in matter of Nelson Parisi versus City of Patterson. No formal action will be taken. Executive session for item number 3, executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of Javier Tovar versus City of Patterson. No formal action will be taken. Executive session for item number 4, executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of James DeMaria versus City of Patterson. No formal action will be taken. Executive session for item number 5, executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss settlement and release between the City of Patterson, the Parking Authority, and NRVP LLC. No formal action will be taken. Resolutions, item number 6, resolution authorizing settlement of pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Josito Jesus versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21279. Formal action will be taken. Item number 7, resolution authorizing settlement of pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Nelson Parisi versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21280. Formal action will be taken. Sorry. Item number 8, resolution authorizing settlement of pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Javier Tovar versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21281. Formal action will be taken. Item number 9, Resolution authorizing settlement of pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of James DeMaria versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21282, formal action will be taken. Item number 10, resolution approving the settlement and release between the City of Patterson, Patterson Parking Authority, and NRVP LLC, Law Resolution 21283, formal action will be taken. Item number 11, resolution authorizing calendar year 2021 emergency temporary appropriations for the month of June 2021, Finance Resolution 21284, formal action will be taken. Item number 12, resolution on the Patterson Code Chapter 129 Bazaars addressing a license for Bronze Heat Inc. to conduct a carnival in Westside Park, Finance Resolution 21285, formal action will be taken. Mr. President, at this time, which item would you like to be entertained?
I'm going to do number 11, Madam Clerk.
Number 11.
I believe we need to have the full council here. Madam Clerk, the item needs 6 votes.
Yes, this item needs 6 votes.
So, if you don't mind, if you see Councilman Velez outside, Councilman Jackson, we need them in here.
Mr. President, I have one speaker for the public portion. Would you like to entertain the public portion?
Yes.
Okay. The public portion is now open for the special 8:30 meeting, and I have one speaker, Mr. Casey Melvin. Is Mr. Melvin here?
Good afternoon, members of council, the administration. I truly apologize. For some reason or another, I signed the wrong list. There was a list in the lobby that I assumed was for the public portion. You know, so if you grant me like 2 quick seconds to just make a quick announcement for June 5th. I think it's relevant towards what we were talking about earlier, at least what I heard earlier, regarding public safety and the community coming together. I'm presently the Assistant Director of the Patterson Healing Collective. The Healing Collective is an it's a hospital-based violence intervention program where we respond to victims of violence as it relates to gunshots and stab wounds. So if you guys have been hearing and seeing individuals in the city who've been injured and survived, they're our clients. On June 5th is a national holiday. It's the 7th annual National Wear Orange Day. This day is to represent and show honor to individuals who lost their lives towards gun violence. Patterson Healing Collective is extending an open invitation to every member of the city to come together in unity and wear orange and support that specific event. Today, on that day, we're going to have a healing concert. Actually, it's a healing festival. Our main location will be 100 Hamilton Plaza, not too far from you guys, so there shouldn't be really too much of a reason for you not to show up. We're going to have other satellite locations in 4 other areas of the city, and we're asking you to come out and participate and spread the message that gun violence will not be tolerated, and we want to help our city heal collectively. So we invite members of the council, we invite members of the administration and the public, most importantly, to please come out, support us in whatever way you can, and hopefully we can help our city heal. Thank you.
Mr. President, there's no one else for the public portion for the special meeting. May I
Move to
entertain a
close.
motion?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Velez, second by Councilman Abdelaziz and Councilman Davila to close the public portion of the special meeting.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call to close the public portion of the 8:30 special meeting. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Khan? Councilman Davila?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid?
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Velez?
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
The vote is 9 in favor, none against. The public portion is now closed. May I continue with the next item, Mr. President?
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Yes, next item on the special meeting is item number 11. And item number 11 reads, resolution authorizing calendar year 2021 emergency temporary appropriations for the month of June 2021, Finance Resolution 21284.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mims, second by Councilman Abdelaziz. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President. Roll call on item number 11 for approval, and this resolution requires 6 affirmative votes. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton? Yes. Councilman Davila?
No.
Councilman Jackson? No. Councilman Kalik?
No.
Councilman Mendez?
No.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Velez? Number 11.
I know, I just want to ask, what's the count?
3 in favor, 4 against so far, and I have your vote on Council President.
It failed.
26.
I know it failed. There's 4 no's.
It needs 6 affirmative votes to adopt this
I know,
temporary
you know,
appropriation.
I stated before regarding the, what we see here is, it's more likely payroll and responsibility that we have in the city. But I have mixed feeling on this situation. My vote is no.
Your vote is?
No.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. President?
So last meeting, we had a concern that we didn't have a introduced budget yet, and it was already June. So that's the only reason why we were presented with a budget today. Talking about fiscal responsibility, right? I just want to let the residents know that I could see the headline tomorrow, because I saw one when the mayor was a councilman, he voted on the same exact situation, right? It was 6 months into the year. He voted no for a temporary budget. The only difference, though, was that the council at least had an introduced budget. It was an approved, they had an approved introduced budget. Today, we're presented with basically another spending authorization, which that's what the temporary budget is. The reason we're voting on a temporary budget is because we don't have an adopted budget yet. But to make matters worse, we don't even have an introduced budget. We were presented one tonight because I complained. But that being said, Madam Clerk, like I told the mayor, it's not just about dollars and cents. I could see the headlines tomorrow that, our employees might not get paid. I already saw the email from the BA sending that to the employees. What makes matters worse, though, whenever an administration hires staff, they should make sure that they at least understand the laws that are part of their duties. A budget needs to be introduced by April. And it was just presented tonight. I could see the headlines tomorrow, like I stated. I don't want to repeat what I just said. But we also have to be concerned about our residents, the services that have not been provided for a couple of years now. I want to see improved services. You're not going to fix it overnight, but I want to see an improvement. This budget was presented tonight, and it still doesn't show the plan. The plan haven't been discussed, how we're going to take care of a lot of the issues that have been that we're facing with. That's what's disturbing. They showed us a balanced budget, yes, happy for that. How is that budget going to address the services that we're not getting out there? So absent of that information, my vote is no also.
Sorry, no, Mr. President?
Yes, Madam Clerk, my vote is no.
Thank you. The vote is 3 in favor, 6 against. Item number 11 failed.
Okay.
Council
What
President.
was the vote count again, Madam Clerk?
Just 3 in favor, and everyone else said
That sends a strong message. Madam BA.
Council President, if I can clarify just one very important point about what you had stated. We were on track to introduce the budget when it was necessary in April by having the conversation about sewer and the sewer utility That is what set us back. It's not, we had an initial award letter even that the director of DCA said to us, you cannot go by that award letter anymore because we don't know exactly what aid we're going to be giving you because we might penalize you for not, as a city, for not keeping the utility in place. So I think it is completely disingenuous to suggest that our CFO or myself don't know what the laws are about this. When you made mention of you need to know the rules about when the budget introduction was necessary, we couldn't do it. We couldn't follow the rules because of the unpredictability of whether the sewer utility was going to exist. The reason why we're able to introduce it now is because the council took action on the first reading ordinance about the sewer.
So,
Council President.
These are facts that have to be on the record.
So
are
Madam BA,
facts.
let me just say, you want to talk about facts? Go to the record. I've been watching council meetings here for 12 years, here in the chambers, every night, workshops and regular meetings. In the past, budgets were introduced with the assumption of the amount of money that you were getting from the state. So if the state threatened this administration about the sewer utility, and they say that they were going to ask us for another $2 million, right, to return it, then your budget should be put together, the introduced budget, with those assumptions.
With utility or no utility?
See, but this is another problem. With or without the utility, you introduce the budget. Don't shake your see, that's another thing. I'm not going to even bring it publicly here. I'm having issues even working with the new CFO. We got to cut this out. You're not here to question us. You're not. Just like you're creating all these positions without even informing the council. It's just frustrating. Here we go again. This is a guy that haven't even been confirmed. He's already doing it again.
Council President.
You asked for the floor, Madam Clerk. You asked for the floor. And the reason I'm acting like this happened in personnel committee meetings and everything, always challenging us.
But Council President, I think this is a disagreement. We have a disagreement, and I think it's a healthy one.
What is the disagreement, Madam
The
BA?
disagreement is about what we were not able to present any budget, and that includes in the
Madam
CFO
BA,
with
the problem that
clarifying.
we're having is that DCA, for the first time in many years, I've noticed, DCA, the responsibility is to oversee and basically provide oversight for 500, and I think we have 65 municipalities now. But somehow, when the administration needs something, all of a sudden we get a letter from DCA. Oh, this must be done. Well, where's the law that says that?
But Council President, they
We're
provide
not run by the
oversight
state.
over the TA communities, which are a much smaller amount than the 500 and
Yes.
so on. We have to operate under the MOU.
Which is funny. The MOU in the past said you should not be creating new positions. And you
No,
creating
they
new
have to-
positions
but
without
Council-
talking to us.
But Council President,
We're not going to go back and forth. Madam BA,
President.
this fell already. If you want to have a discussion, put it in the next workshop.
Council President.
Yes.
Thank you,
Councilman
President.
Velez.
Thank you for the opportunity, but Madam BA just stated something about teaching us how to follow rules and we should know the rules of this and that, you know. Madam BA, I'm speaking. Thank you.
thank you. I don't think that was necessary, but thank you.
I will respect you as a female, but when I'm speaking, I want you to divide attention for it. Now, you stated that you can't follow the rules in this process that we did now. Now, I will accept another excuse, a better one, if COVID-19 will put you back into percentage budget. But to say that you can't follow the rules and this and that sends a strong and bad message. Why? Because the council only wants is in the city is that you represent the city the right way and the administration do the right thing and present a fiscal and responsible budget that represent the service and the taxpayer of the city of Patterson. And it's not happening. It's not happening. You know, I gotta say a year. We see things left and right here. We have seen it left and right, the hiring process, the nepotism on the process, putting people, mistreating employees. And still, we haven't have a good data how many lawsuits we have to the administration regarding employees and this and that. So, and we don't see no increased salary for those employees, even bargaining for them. So the only thing that we ask is that this administration represent and present us a fiscal responsible budget that represent what the taxpayers needs. Right now, if I go to grade the service, I could give a D-. The service. Right now, I was out there. And we go to the surrounding city of Patterson. At this time, they are clean and neat. Right now, at this point. But I was out there right now, and it's awful. I received a video, okay, of a U-Haul truck dumping in the 5th Ward at this time. Dumping in the 5th Ward at this time, at 17th Avenue, between 18.
Councilman Velez, I know that you have a lot, but.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
I don't have a lot, but I just want to be,
Yeah, we have.
But I just sort of close this remark. But to say that you can't follow the rules, that says a lot of an administration without knowing what rules have been broken to make sure this administration do the right thing. So, thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson?
Thank you, Council President. I'll be as brief as possible. You know, my first few years in the council, I often sat back and took guidance and leadership from some of the people who were here. And I had, you know, sat back and observed how business was done. And, you know, I'm often pegged with being the angry one, so to speak. But if you please take notice that I'm always I try my best to be very respectful. And, you know, Madam BA, you have done absolutely nothing but be disrespectful. You've done it in personnel. When we would have meetings with the former CFO, it was heated arguments would actually break out. I've heard from countless employees in various departments on how not just you, but now the people under your purview come into their office and scream and bark orders and pass around this disrespect. And it's part of the reason why it's such a dysfunction within city government, because the morale is at an all-time low. And one thing I have to say about the former BA, she is a state senator. She carried many titles, and she had many, many years of experience, well before I ever even thought about being involved in municipal government, and I've never, ever seen her get unfolded in the manner in which you do consistently. The CFO, I've watched, maybe Russ. Russ used to break off into, yes. But Russ was confirmed, and he had many, many years of experience under his belt, where there might be some other people who were less experienced. And be it as it may, even if the experience on either side is lacking, the fact of the matter is the services that are being rendered are absolutely atrocious. The community is crying out, and the young lady comes in, you know, she's observing something that's actually true, because there's so much indifference and so much pushback from this administration. First of all, let me say this on record. This administration, including the mayor, the BA, has never extended an olive branch to myself. I stopped calling the economic development director because he doesn't even take my phone calls. And I'm representing the largest population, the largest ward in the city of Patterson that has the most diversity, the most, you know, different environments, whether relative to the downtown area, the Falls area, and so on and so forth. But just saying that, listen, if we're talking about working together, how can we actually say that when the display is just constantly lashing out at council members who are talking about and showing their frustration? Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Madam Clerk, can we take item number 12? I know we have our lawyers here. We're paying them by the hour. So can we take item number 12 next, Madam Clerk, please?
Yes, Madam President. At this time, we take item number 12, resolution on the Patterson Code, Chapter 129, bazaars, addressing a license for Bronze Heat Inc. to conduct a carnival in West Side Park. Finance Resolution 21285.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Mims and Velez, second by Councilwoman Cotton and Davila. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Roll call on item number 12 for approval. Councilwoman Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just wanted to say to our Bronze Heat, they have been such a good community partner for everyone. And I know that it was a hard time of getting this together, but with COVID has put a damper on a lot of activities that we could have had in the city. Different organizations has decided not to do things because of COVID, because people still weren't coming out. So we were finally able to get this on. It's a bazaar starting January the 10th. So with that being said, it's truly an honor for me to help work with them, because I know what they do for our community. They bend over backwards for everyone, and when I'm saying everyone. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Davila.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I'm happy to see that they are in compliance with their application. As per you, Madam Clerk, you certified that we have all the information.
Yes, I certify
I'm
with
looking at
finance.
here, and Councilwoman is correct. It starts on, I believe, Thursday, June 10th, and it'll go on Friday, Saturday, and end on Sunday, June 13th. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson.
First and foremost, let me take my hat off to those gentlemen within the Bronze Heat organization. All of the work that they do when they're doing these events is completely volunteer-based. They're primarily Patterson homegrown residents that have made a conscious decision to give back to the community on a consistent basis, and they do a phenomenal job of doing so. And Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Khalid.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Bronze Heat, for choosing West Side Park in the second ward to have this carnival. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Mendez.
Pass.
Councilman Velez.
I will pass.
You're passing, Councilman?
Yes, I just don't write in my
I have to
notes.
go back to Councilman Mendez.
That's good.
Sure, Madam Clerk. I just was waiting to read it. So it's item number 12. This is a program bazaar. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk. Yeah.
Thank you. Councilman Velez.
Bronze Heat, you have been doing a great job in the past before the pandemic, so this is the first event after, still in the pandemic, but I know the community is going to take advantage of it. Listen, they always give back to the community, so, and this is a way to do that. And Bronze Heat is an example of other organizations should follow. So my vote is yes.
Thank you. Madam President.
And so Bronze Heat, first of all, let me commend you for the great work that you have done pre-COVID, during COVID, and after. You're not just an organization that provides for the community, but you're actually firefighters and EMTs who have been on first responders throughout this pandemic, and you do amazing work. Thank you for all you do for our city, our community, and every day to continue to save our lives. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Item number 12 is hereby adopted. Madam President, may I take items 1 through 5 for executive session so I can have a roll call before I have the public to leave the chambers?
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Our next item on the end of the special meeting agenda is items 1 to 5. Item 1 reads, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the city council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of Josito Jesus versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21274. Item number 2, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, discuss pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Nelson Perici versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21275. Item number 3, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation claim in the matter of Javier Tovar versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21276. Item number 4, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in our adjoining City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss pending workers' compensation in the matter of James DeMaria versus City of Patterson, Law Resolution 21277. Item number 5, resolution authorizing a municipal council executive or closed session in or adjoining the City Council chambers, 155 Market Street, to discuss settlement and release between the City of Patterson, the Parking Authority, and NRVP LLC, Law Resolution 21278. May I have a motion and a second for item 125?
Moved by Councilwoman Davila, second by Councilman Velez. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, roll call for open executive session for item 1 through 5. Councilwoman Davila?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid? Yes. Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Velez?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor, 3 absent. Executive session now is open for items 1 through 5. Anyone who's not associated with any of these matters may ask to leave the chambers, and we will, after the executive session, we'll have the public to return to the chambers. Mr. Ming, you may proceed as we discussed.